Edward R. Murrow Award for breaking news. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Stacey Lynn. Evacuation orders have been issued for the Outer Banks in North Carolina, with Hurricane Erin causing dangerous conditions. But 96-year-old Carol White Dillon, who's lived in a motel there since 1955, says she's not budging.
I don't know how bad it's going to come through here, but there's nothing we can do about it. We've done everything we can.
Erin is far from the U.S. mainland, but still a threat, says National Hurricane Center Director Michael Brennan.
Going to create some very dangerous ocean conditions along the entire U.S. East Coast, and the potential for life-threatening storm surge inundation across portions of the North Carolina Outer Banks.
Our Vicky Barker tells us several retired British generals have expressed doubt about this.
A European peacekeeping force for Ukraine? Just how many troops would Europe be prepared to send for the decade plus required?
We're talking about serious numbers here.
Retired General Richard Sheriff and retired General Richard Barons, who served in Bosnia and Afghanistan, says any peacekeeping force must be prepared to enforce that peace.
The guarantee cannot include the decision that if the shooting starts again, that you simply leave. That's utterly worthless.
Texas Republicans are expected to vote on the state's new congressional redistricting maps today. But even if they get it passed, Democrats say they'll file legal challenges in court. Representative Nicole Collier.
These maps that are rigged to have the outcome that Trump wants are harmful to my community. They will take away the voice of my district.
Two homesteaders in Arkansas are trying to create a whites-only community. CBS's Michael Wallace has the story.
They call their development in the small Ozarks town of Ravenden Return to the Land. Applicants have to go through an in-person interview and a criminal background check, fill out a questionnaire about their ancestors, and provide photos of their relatives. Housing rights experts say state and federal laws prohibit housing discrimination based on race, but the community's creators say they see a possible opening during the Trump administration.
And about those two creators, one was arrested but not charged for attempted murder in Ecuador. The other live streams his own sex videos. Well, the White House is now on TikTok. Here's CBS's Jesse Mitchell.
The move comes less than a month before President Trump's latest extension for the social media app to find a new owner or face a U.S. ban expires. The same day the White House account went online, Minnesota announced it is suing TikTok, accusing it of preying on young people using deceptive and manipulative practices.
A TikTok spokesperson says that lawsuit is based on misleading and inaccurate claims. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Get renter's insurance to protect the things that make your place a home, including coverage for theft or damage. Visit Progressive.com.
Now 6:03, and we've got partly cloudy skies, 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey, the news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station.
And I'm Tom Ackerman.
What we want from our council members tonight is the assurance that the board will not let this data center proposal come up in any form again.
Well, to say that St. Charles residents were livid with the proposal to build a data center in an area that is already contaminated and floods regularly is an understatement.
Last night, hundreds packed the St. Charles Convention Center to voice their opposition, even though the unnamed Fortune 500 company withdrew their request for a conditional use permit. The secrecy surrounding the company, the attorneys group Project Cumulus, representing the no-name company, required non-disclosure agreements be signed. Yet no one knows who signed the DNAs. All proved to be the breaking point for residents.
This is wrong. The city has spoken. We don't want it and we don't need it.
Thank you, Ms. Travers.
We have stymied this plague for now, but they will be back. And next time their strategy will be more money and more convincing that this is good for us. To Mr. Maxwell and the Project Cumulus team, I say this: return to your master and tell him that the people of St. Charles and the surrounding regions want nothing to do with this abomination that he would destroy our lives with.
Mayor Dan Borgmeyer was the recipient of much of the anger.
Then we find out that the mayor has a relative that's selling the property in question. But
Please.
he didn't know that. So maybe we should hang a family tree in his office.
I'm not against a data center in any way, shape, or form. I am against a data center taking place on a protected wellhead. We call it protected for a reason.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
I'm Michael Calhoun in downtown St. Louis, where major San Francisco-based artificial intelligence company Scale AI is moving its St. Louis operations into the former Post-Dispatch building. The company's new lab here is dedicated to handling geospatial data for the U.S. government. It's part of the city's efforts to create a downtown north tech hub that capitalizes on the NGA headquarters that's being built 2 miles from here. Scale AI recently got a massive investment from Facebook's parent company Meta. Other investors include Amazon and Intel. It's valued at approximately $29 billion. In addition to the Department of Defense, its clients include Toyota and General Motors. The St. Louis lab is expected to be open by October.
Several office tenants' rent checks will now be going to the city of Chesterfield. But the 6-2 city council decision to purchase an office building on the Parkway, mostly for access to its parking near busy Central Park, wasn't without dissent, including from former Mayor Bob Nation.
Do we need to do something for parking? Absolutely. Do we need to buy an office building that comes with a parking garage that we may gain a few spaces? No.
Supporters urge the city not to be short-sighted.
The building, and especially the location, makes perfect sense. It is already nestled in Central City Park, overlooking the Awakening. It should be a part of our city. A satellite office for the parks would be a logical use, and the central location makes it easy for residents to use.
There was a last-minute effort to put the issue on the ballot. That failed. The measure to buy the building and garage passed.
A report into the city's emergency management agency highlights a number of flaws during and before May's tornado and corrective actions to take.
One of the key findings of the report is that the city should work immediately to fill out the staffing vacancies at the city's emergency management agency. I asked Mayor Kara Spencer how they plan to get this done. She says it starts with the leadership at the top of the agency.
We're going to be looking to putting in place a permanent long-term director of the emergency management system that will help us really staff that office out.
However, when asked about the job status of SEMA Commissioner Sarah Russell, Mayor Spencer declined to comment, saying she would have more information available in the coming days. In St. Louis City Hall, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Federal cuts to Head Start have loomed over the program's head for much of 2025. 4 organizations that manage Head Start in the greater St. Louis area said they expressed the need to share the program's positive impact with their communities to help it survive long term. Here's Dr. Cheryl Watkins with YWCA of Metropolitan St. Louis.
The importance of this program cannot be overstated and should be celebrated every minute, every hour, every day, every month, and every year because of its impact.
The 4 organizations in the region delivered $74 million of Head Start funding to the greater St. Louis area.
We'll get a check on traffic and weather next at 6:08. I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We are visiting with Dr. Premal Thacker, a WashU Medicine gynecologic surgeon at Siteman Cancer Center. Dr. Thacker, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
What is uterine cancer and who needs to be concerned about it?
Uterine cancer is the only cancer in the country that's actually on the rise, with approximately 65,000 women going to be diagnosed this year. Disproportionately, Black women do get affected more and have worse outcomes, which is quite concerning. Uterine cancer is a cancer of the womb, as women like to say, where your child was in the birth canal before. Anyone who has postmenopausal bleeding, so after you've gone through menopause and you've stopped bleeding, you should not be bleeding ever again. So if you have bleeding after menopause, then you need to come and seek attention from a gynecologic provider.
Thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, please visit siteman.wustl.edu.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well,
I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, that's a crash downtown, unfortunately, Tom. Now I can tell that we have on westbound of 5570. I talked about the delays. It's jammed now instead of being slow, approaching 203 up to the crash, which is just before you get to 64. So there's lane blockage and a building back up there. And, of course, there's lane restrictions between 111 and 203 westbound anyway. So, again, a jam approaching 203 up most of the way to 64. Eastbound 64, you're slow from 159 through Highway 50 into that work zone that runs all the way through Greenmount Road. Again, that additional lane closer through 7 a.m. And they're reporting a crash southbound 94 just past 64. The only delays I'm seeing is a little slowdown at the westbound 64 exit ramp. Through traffic on 64 in the area is moving great so far for you in both directions. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today will be cooler than recent days with times of sun and clouds. It'll become rather breezy and a little less humid for this afternoon. High 87, mainly clear and more comfortable tonight, though 67. Plenty of sunshine and delightful tomorrow, high 84. Friday, more sun than clouds, the high 85. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now, we've got clear skies downtown, 72 degrees. The weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote. Today, you're in good hands with Allstate.
It's 6:12. St. Louisans could potentially have one fewer news source with its own reporters. Nexstar, the owner of Channels 2 and 11, is buying Tegna, the owner of Channel 5.
These stations aren't owned by Fox or NBC. They're affiliated or franchised with those networks, but actually owned by other companies. In years past, owning two top-tier stations in a market wouldn't be legal. But Nexstar CEO Perry Sook confirms to CNBC that has changed.
The Eighth Circuit Court basically vacated in July the two-station rule, or the two top big four station rule, that prohibited an operator from owning two of the top four rated stations in a marketplace. So we feel, as we move through this regulatory process, that we're meeting deregulation kind of where it is at this point.
What could this deregulation mean for Five on Your Side when it gets purchased?
Well, there are 35 markets in this transaction where both Tegna and Nexstar operate television stations. So there will be a combination of those into one facility. Think of it, if you will, as operating two newspapers off of a single printing press.
There was another rival bid to buy Tegna. It was from Sinclair, which owns ABC 30.
St. Louis-based Peabody Energy is canceling its deal to buy Australian steelmaking coal assets from Anglo American. It was a deal worth $3.8 billion. Peabody says they have cause to terminate the deal, but Anglo American says it will seek damages. Peabody began reviewing their options after production that was paused at a mine because of high carbon monoxide levels following a mine fire.
Pope Leo has named a new bishop for the Jefferson City Diocese.
The Pope chose 55-year-old Father Ralph O'Donnell as the new bishop of the Jeff City Diocese. He's a Nebraska native who most recently served as pastor of St. Margaret Mary Parish in Omaha. The new bishop will succeed Archbishop Sean McKnight, who was installed in May as Archbishop of Kansas City, Kansas. The Jefferson City Diocese encompasses 38 counties in northeast and central Missouri, with a total of about 75,000 members. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
And did you see this? One of Sweden's most beloved wooden churches is being moved as part of the relocation of the town of Kiruna. It's happening because the world's largest underground iron ore mine is threatening to swallow the town. This week, thousands of visitors have descended upon the town north of the Arctic Circle to watch the relocation of the more than 100-year-old church. The building is about 131 feet wide, 115 feet high. The slow journey is scheduled to end this afternoon, and it is being live streamed. It's 6:15. Cardinals won yesterday 7-4 over the Marlins. They take the first two of this 3-game series. They go for the sweep this afternoon. The inside pitch, sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. Ali Marmol, he's had a good series after getting swept by the Yankees. His team bounces right back. He seems to be very confident these days about his job and his situation, and he continues to look at the task at hand, not the future, as he explained to Bernie Miklasz on the Gas House Gang.
Given the relationship you've been building with Chaim Bloom, do you have any feeling whatsoever about him wanting you to be back as the manager?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a great way of answering this other than I think so. But at the end of the day, man, like, he has to make the best decision for this organization. I know where I stand with my staff and with the players, and I'm comfortable with that. So for me, again, and I'm not just trying to skate around this. It's something I don't pay a ton of attention to. Like, I know what I bring to the table. I'm confident in what I do every day. But from what should he do stand, like, that's up to Chaim. My relationship with him up to this point has been great. And he'll make the decision that makes the most sense for everybody moving forward.
Chaim Bloom is taking over for John Mozeliak as president of baseball operations at the conclusion of this season. The Cardinals are out of the National League wildcard race. The Reds are just a game out. They trail the Mets by 1 game. Both Mets and Reds have won 3 in a row. The Cubs, Padres, and Mets are the 3 wildcard teams, with the Brewers, Phillies, and Dodgers the division leaders in the National League. The Brewers actually got swept in a doubleheader yesterday at Wrigley Field. Cubs got them twice, but they still trail Milwaukee by 7 games in the National League Central. Let's shift to football now, and Mizzou football coach Eli Drinkwitz, I mentioned this last hour, he has a decision to make what to do at starting quarterback. He told reporters yesterday,
it's been something that's kept me up every night and keeps, wakes me up in the morning. I think those guys have played really good, both of them really well. In fact, the 2-minute, 4-minute just kind of sealed it in my mind. Like, my gosh, these guys both can play at a high level and win. So what that means moving forward, I don't know yet. I just got off the field today, but we'll start UCA prep tomorrow, and we'll have a decision and talk to both those guys here in the next 24 hours about what we're going to do and make sure the team's comfortable with the plan moving forward, and we'll let y'all know.
You mentioned how difficult it would be to tell one of them that, the other one is the starter. Yeah. How good did they perform in talking about how much effort they put in? How difficult does that make it?
Yeah, you wish it was easy and that there would be something definitive that you could point at and say, hey, this was the reason why, but that's not going to be the case. So we'll figure it out from there, and that's what they pay me to do. They pay me to make tough decisions, and that's what I got to do.
That's Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach of the Tigers. So his decision is this. Does he go with Penn State transfer Bo Pribula? Does he go with Sam Horn, who has been around the program for quite a while? Or does he go with both? It's possible. He said UCA prep there. UCA is Central Arkansas. That's the Tigers' opponent 1 week from tomorrow. I'm Tom Ackerman on the Voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
That baby's gone! Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV. Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
Cardinal Cowboy here. After proving the doctors wrong following my accident, I got back to baseball, started kicking field goals, then finally got paid as a pro kicker and ultimately became a leader in the marketing world. That's why I trust Renner Garage Door, exceeding expectations for over 65 years. They service, sell, and install top brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster. Get your free quote today. Check them out at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, forward and back. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Had dinner with some friends of ours at 5 Star Burgers in Clayton recently. And I'm still thinking about this sandwich that I got. You ready for the name of this sandwich? The Hoosier Spicy Daddy.
That's you.
I'm like, oh, I have to get that. Crispy breaded pork tenderloin sandwich with a chipotle peach salsa served with lettuce, tomato, onion, and pickle. It was phenomenal. You know what was even better is I washed it down with an ice cold Budweiser. Oh my gosh, I could go for it right now. Budweiser is the king of beers. This Bud's for you. They put care and attention into every detail of the brewing process to ensure every Budweiser is crafted with a balance of unrivaled taste and pure refreshment. And that cold bottle of Budweiser was just what I needed. Budweiser is made with barley, rice, hops, and water. And filtered water, only the finest barley malt, fresh verdant rice, supple aromatic hops. That's how they create that distinctive taste of Budweiser that you've known and loved and that's been around since 1876. Budweiser, the king of beers. This Bud's for you.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM. KMOX.
It is 6:20, time for traffic and weather. And Roger Brand is joining us from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, some good news downtown, Debbie. If you're headed in on westbound 5570, we had that crash just before 64. This traffic report is a service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Our own Megan Lynch just went through the area and said, yeah, it's moved over to the shoulder. But we've got backed up traffic. In fact, it's jammed just west of 111 all the way up to about 203, and then it's slow up to 64 after that. So, again, it's improved as far as lane restrictions, but the jam's getting bigger because we're building volume in the area. Speaking of building volume, northbound 55 south of Butler Hill to Madison is a little slow. They're reporting a crash. It sounds like the Gravois on-ramp or the exit ramp to 55. I don't see anything in the through lanes through there right now. Traffic seems to be moving along okay. We do have that crash southbound 94 reported at 64, and we still have the road work ongoing eastbound 64, east of 159, just a little heavy through that particular stretch for you right now as well. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 178-year Young Mutual Company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Next update is 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Times of sun and clouds, breezy today with low humidity. I mean, it's going to be awesome this afternoon. High 87. Tonight, mainly clear, low 67. It just gets better. Tomorrow, high 84. Friday, 85. Saturday, 86. Sunday, 82. And each day, you're going to feel pleasant with low humidity and lots of sun. Currently, we have a clearing sky in downtown St. Louis. It is 72 degrees.
The news continues at 6:22. The appointment of Catherine Hanaway as the next Missouri Attorney General is being celebrated by a group that advocates for women in civic leadership. KMOX's Megan Lynch spoke with Wendy Doyle, president and CEO of United We, who calls the appointment of the first woman in the state's history as Attorney General monumental.
When a woman is appointed to a high office, what does that do for other women who have aspirations like that?
It really lets women who are thinking about running for office or participating in public service in some way to see what they can be. And we know that this appointment will inspire future generations of women to see themselves in this highest level of a justice and a public service position. And we hope that the appointment of Attorney General Catherine Hanaway is the first of many women who will be in that elected position in the future. So that visual of seeing who they can be really reinforces and empowers women to step up and raise their hand.
When we're talking about politics, is it sometimes hard to celebrate those things if someone is watching this and they have a completely different political view?
There is no question. And there's always, the division between the parties. But I think for this appointment, if for our organization kind of stepping back, as a nonpartisan organization and just looking at this historical appointment of, for the first time ever, having a woman in this position is something to celebrate.
What are the steps for women when it comes to building that credibility and legitimacy that you could find yourself in a place where people notice you and put you in top positions?
Yes. Well, one thing that for the audience to know, again, that United We has an initiative called the Appointments Project, doing this very thing, working to educate women, to inspire them to feel confident, to raise their hand, and to want to step into an appointed role, whether it's city, county, or state level. So I think for the audience to know there is a program out there for you. The second thing to your question, Megan, is one of the things that we've learned as an organization doing this work, whether it be in a corporate setting or in a state capitol or a county courthouse, is that we are a nonpartisan organization and use data, research and data to really inform our conversations. So I think as we are looking to inspire women to move and elevate into leadership positions, to really ensure that when they are having conversations, to incorporate data and research and focus on the facts rather than the emotion.
How do we make sure that appointments aren't just a token appointment, that it really is a qualified person being put in there for all the right reasons, including possibly their gender?
Absolutely. And that's what we really aspire for the Appointments Project to be, that this is really to bring forward the opportunity to have the appointments, the boards and commissions to be reflective of the communities that they serve. That's first and foremost. And we know the value of doing so really makes the decision making, bring different perspectives and make the best decisions for everyone. And we know when you have diversity around the table, that happens. But that's really what we want the appointments to do. But it is really, when it comes to this moment in time, it is left up to a few individuals to actually make the decision. We want the best person for the job and not looking at, all of the different categories. It really should be who is the most qualified for the position.
Through the Appointments Project, what would you say are still some of the biggest hurdles for women?
Applying. I think the biggest hurdle, Megan, is that women still don't think about seeking out an appointment at any level of, city, county, state level of government. They don't think about that when they have extra time or expressing their interest. And then I think the biggest issue too is how to navigate that appointments process. It can take some time. And that's something that isn't always a luxury for some women, to have the luxury of time to work on an appointment. But I think the biggest obstacle is knowing that those opportunities are out there.
That is Wendy Doyle of United We. It is now 6:27. That time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. That's 800-885-9700.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone.
milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200-store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh, my Bob!
Energy security isn't a slogan, it's a necessity. American-made energy means we call the shots instead of depending on foreign sources to fill our tanks. Made here in America, ethanol keeps gas prices lower at the pump. It's reliable, creates jobs, and strengthens farming communities. Tell Congress to support nationwide year-round access to E15, a lower-cost fuel made with 15% ethanol, because American-made energy should come first. Paid for by the Renewable Fuels Association.
It is 6:30, and right now we've got clear skies in downtown St. Louis. I see a few clouds out there, but mostly sunny. 72 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand, how does it look? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the biggest delays we have are on the Illinois side right now, Tom. It's getting better. We had that crash on westbound 5570 just before 64. They moved everything over to the shoulder. There's still delays about midway between 111 and 203. Of course, there's a active work zone there. They have a lane closed between 111 and 203, so it's heavy midway between those 2 points up to 64. Not a solid jam like it was, so it continues to improve there. We have a little bit of a backup eastbound 64 right as you approach 159, about midway into Greenmount Road in that construction zone. It's a little busy on northbound 55, but just slowdowns in the right lanes coming through Butler Hill, Mattis, between Bales and Weber. It looks a little crowded. North 270, just as you approach 64, is a little slow. Eastbound 30, east of Mauer, just a little busy up the hill to 270. Eastbound 64 through Prospect looks a little crowded out in the Lake St. Louis area. Southbound 94 at 64, they were reporting an injury crash. I still don't see really any delays coming through that area in any direction at that intersection. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today is not bad, folks. Check this out. Times of sun and clouds today, breezy with lowering humidity this afternoon and a high of 87. Even nicer tomorrow with sunshine and a high of 84. Right now it's 72 degrees out there.
St. Louis County Police Department has issued an endangered missing persons advisory for 24-year-old Elijah Cole. He was last seen in the 30th block of Sherman Road around 6 o'clock last night. Cole is 5'10", 170 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He has been diagnosed with a mental health condition and left his care facility without permission. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please call 911.
Missouri's incoming attorney general has been working in private practice for almost a decade. Are there conflicts of interest?
Catherine Hanaway was the first woman Speaker of the House in Missouri and is a former U.S. attorney for the Eastern District. But for almost a decade, she's represented clients at the law firm Hush Blackwell. One of those clients is the multi-state power line project, Grain Belt Express. Opposing counsel on that was Missouri AG Andrew Bailey. Now she'll be the AG.
Since I had that matter in private practice, when I switch over to the Attorney General's office, I'll have to recuse myself, but the team that is there, the great team that is there, will be able to go forward without my input.
Hanaway says she first learned last Tuesday there could be an AG vacancy and she could be appointed to fill it. Since then, she says she's been working to identify potential conflicts of interest. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Andrew Bailey will become co-deputy director of the FBI next month. One D.C. lawmaker is concerned.
I try to give the benefit of the doubt, but when I see some of the lawsuits that he filed as Attorney General, it does concern me.
That's Congressman Wesley Bell. He tells KMOX Bailey's addition to President Trump's FBI could amplify what he sees as an agency less focused on the rule of law.
My hope is that folks will start putting our country and our Constitution and our rule of law before party and self-interest. And so we'll see how it goes.
Bell says a particular concern is Bailey's lawsuits against abortion access targeting Planned Parenthood and mifepristone. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We've got your money report coming up, and we hope you stay with us here on Total Information AM at 6:34.
This is Tom Becker with Climate Masters. We don't just sell air conditioners, we sell comfort. We sell solutions. We sell a job well done, and we fix bad jobs. Climate Masters, because you need someone you can trust, someone who earns your respect and 5-star reviews. Climate Masters, selling high-quality Carrier air conditioners. Turn to the experts. Climate Masters, quality work for over 40 years. Just type in Climate Masters and give us a call.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit suntrupford.com.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
It's 6:35. This Money Report is sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
Good morning. The state of Minnesota is suing TikTok, accusing the platform of violating consumer protection laws by exploiting younger users. The lawsuit accuses TikTok of pitting kids against, quote, some of the most powerful and manipulative designed features to keep them addicted. The complaint says TikTok's live stream and gifting functions are, quote, flooded with sexual exploitation. Quarterly results from luxury home builder Toll Brothers are a sign that the latest housing market remains challenging. Toll's numbers fell short of analyst estimates. Would-be buyers are holding back because of economic uncertainty and high costs. Signed contracts for the latest quarter were down 4% from a year earlier. And McDonald's is teasing a future Happy Meal featuring Tiny Tan characters related to the South Korean band BTS. The fast food chain says the Tiny Tan meals will be coming to restaurants next month. They'll come with 2 different sets of toys. McDonald's has collaborated with the K-pop singers before. There was a BTS meal about 4 years ago. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
McKelvey Homes, it's always been their mission to uncover the most appealing neighborhood settings. So they have built homes all throughout the St. Louis area, St. Louis County, St. Charles County, most prominently. Home site size, privacy, proximity to highly rated schools, parks, entertainment, major thoroughfares. Simply put, McKelvey Homes tries their best to build where families want to live. And every McKelvey Homes community features a sophisticated portfolio of floor plan selections that place a premium on luxury and value, while maximizing space, volume, livability, and functionality. They will gladly accommodate your requests to customize as well at McKelvey Homes. McKelvey Homes is Missouri's oldest and most respected name in the industry, an unrivaled reputation. They've been building a tradition of excellence since 1898. No one else can say that. And McKelvey Homes is recognized for knowledge, experience, integrity, and financial stability. They are here to stay. They are here for you. They were established in 1898. St. Louis's oldest residential builder is McKelvey Homes. McKelveyHomes.com. Move up to McKelvey.
If you're still waiting for a sign, here's another one. At California Psychics, we reject 98% of the psychics who apply to work for us. So we only connect you with the best. That's how we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. And right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is. Dramatic sound effect incoming. Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. We're dedicated to serving people 50 and up like me. Our needs are different. Big Wireless wants us in an unlimited plan, but if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used. At Consumer Cellular, we're focused on affordable, reliable plans, including data that suits your needs, not ours. Our plans start at just $20, and you'll get the best customer service in the business.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com/facts or a store near you. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today. 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Cards manager Ollie Marble joins the Gas House Gang every Tuesday at noon. Sponsored by Siteman Cancer Center on the voice of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, it's 6:40. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Debbie Monterrey, along with Tom Ackerman and Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. What's the latest?
Well, we got a few trouble spots out there right now, Debbie. This traffic reports a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. I'm looking at a slowdown. I can't see the problem yet, but there's slow traffic on eastbound 70, just east of 370, past Cave Springs, something just east of Cave Springs. Aside from the rising sun right now, I can't see what it is causing the delay. There's a couple of slow spots on southbound 61, Highway P, midway down to Wentzville Parkway, and then Wentzville Parkway down to 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Crash. This is the one that was reported near 64. It's actually southbound 94 to south of Wolfram. It's closer to 364. Left lane closed. Just a brief delay there. More volume on North 270. A slowdown north of Gravois, and then Doherty Ferry up to 64. Looks pretty busy. Northbound 55 south of Butler Hill to Mattis. North of Union up to River to Pear. That's all heavy. That downtown crash that was reported north 55 is actually eastbound 44 at the Lafayette exit. The exit is closed. And westbound 5570, west of 111 to 64 is backed up because of a recent crash. Next update is 650 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. Our attorneys are committed to you, your business, and your community. We are ready to serve you in the areas of business litigation, intellectual property, health law, and products liability. SandbergPhoenix.com. The choice of lawyers, an important decision, and should not be based solely on advertising.
No problems with this weather, I'll tell you that. AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, we deserve this, I'll tell you.
We do. It's been a long time in coming. I mean, the last week has been brutal. Really, the last 5 days, we've been seeing temperatures mid to upper 90s. Not today. In fact, we don't have 90 degree on the dartboard for at least the next week across the area. Sun and clouds today. Nice breeze. Lower humidity this afternoon, 87. And tonight should be clear. Everybody should drop into the 60s tonight. With sunshine tomorrow, temperatures settle in at about 84. We'll be seeing more sun than clouds for Friday with a high in the mid-80s. About the same on Saturday. And then another front comes through Saturday night behind it. Even less humidity and a little cooler temps for Sunday. With sunshine, we only get a high of 82. 72 at St. Peter's and in Florissant, partly cloudy. 74 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 6:42. After losing the Riverfront Times, St. Louis now bracing for another potential blow to local journalism. A mega merger could put a local TV newsroom at risk. Troubling for a region whose political indictments and population decline demand more scrutiny, not less. We get that story from KMOX's Michael Calhoun.
Once upon a time, there were 5 distinct choices on what kind of St. Louis news stories you wanted to see and in what style.
You're watching ABC 30 News at 10.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Louis 11 News Update.
We'll return to Blues hockey in just a moment. Fox 2 News. Here's to St. Louis. KMOV TV for St. Louis. Thanks for choosing News for St. Louis at noon.
You're watching News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
Several years ago, the owners of Channel 2 and 11 merged. Because Channel 11 wasn't one of the top 4 stations of the market, the company could legally own both, and the 2 stations' newsrooms became one. Now their owner, Nexstar, is buying Tegna, which owns Channel 5. Previously, they would have to divest of either 2 or 5 because they're both top-tier stations. But Nexstar CEO Perry Sook explains on CNBC that rule is now gone.
The 8th Circuit Court basically vacated in July the 2-station rule, or the 2 top big 4 station rule that prohibited an operator from owning 2 of the top 4 rated stations in a marketplace.
Sook outlines what we can expect once stations like Channel 5 are acquired.
Well, there are 35 markets in this transaction where both Tegna and Nexstar operate television stations. So there will be a combination of those into one facility Think of it, if you will, as operating two newspapers off of a single printing press.
And he references what they've already done in places like St. Louis.
Nexstar has a track record of doing this. About half of the markets that we operate in today, Nexstar derives an economic benefit from more than one television station.
St. Louis isn't the only place. In Denver, anchor Kyle Clark on their Tegna station, 9 News, said
that in the cities where Nexstar will end up with multiple stations, like in Denver, that those stations will be, quote unquote, combined. You may remember that Channel 2, Colorado's first TV station, used to have its own newsroom and staff before Channel 2 was rolled into Fox 31's operation in 2008. Nexstar told shareholders today that it expects most of the operating expense reductions to be completed within 12 months of the deal closing.
KSDK Channel 5 has been planning new studios overlooking Forest Park to move in next year. It's only a block away from where Channel 2 used to be.
This is News Channel 5 at 10 with Karen Foss, Dan Gray, Sidney Pressler, and Mike Bush. And on the night beat, Deanne Lane and Steve Jankowski.
Even if station ownership limits don't apply, the Trump administration could still require a sell-off of a station like this if, for instance, it decides that Nexstar could control too much of the advertising market in a given area. By the way, there was another bidder for Tegna. It was Sinclair, the owner of Channel 30. For Total Information AM, Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting. Ivan Herrera, first inning.
The pitch. A swing, and that is a base hit into right field. Nootbaar comes around third. The ball rolls slowly all the way to Troy Johnston, 1-0 Cardinals. That was a great approach shot to the green, the way that ball hit. It took a bite and then just rolled so slowly to the right fielder.
Hey, when you're hot, things happen and go your way. In the second inning, it's Herrera again.
The pitch on the way. That ball's driven to right field down the line. It's a fair ball. It's going to score two. Here's Herrera. A wide turn at first. He goes back as Johnston's throw comes into second base. 3-0 Cardinals.
Ivan Herrera, 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs last night. He's hitting .289. Pedro Pajes has been on fire lately.
And the pitch is lined into right field. Base hit. The Cardinals are going to add another. So JC's on his way to third base, and he's going to make it. The ball is cut off by the shortstop, Lopez, and the Cardinals add another run. They've scored in all 3 innings. It's now 4-0 St. Louis.
Cardinals had 12 hits last night, another dozen-hit night as they beat the Marlins 7-4. Maybe the best performance of all was the Cardinals' bullpen after Michael McGreevy went 6 innings, allowing 4 runs on 6 hits. 3 of those runs were earned. Didn't walk anyone, struck out 5. The bullpen backed him up with 3 hitless innings. Matt Swanson, JoJo Romero, and Riley O'Brien closed the door on the Marlins, and the Cardinals go for the sweep today. Manager Oliver Marmol on FanDuel Sports Network Midwest.
That was a dynamic baseball game. We did a lot of things well. I like the overall approach offensively. We, again, used the whole field. I mean, everyone was shooting that 4-hole, and it worked out really well. We were able to steal some bases. What Mason did today, I mean, he's one of the most dynamic players in the game. Like, that was a really good showcase of what he's capable of doing. So happy about that. But overall, a really well-played game.
Mason Wynn scored a couple of runs, 1 for 4 on the day. In terms of the Cardinals running out there and making things happen, they were running. Ivan Herrera had a steal. Wynn had 2 steals. Sajaci had a steal. And the Cardinals just did everything right yesterday, winning 7-4 over the Marlins. They go for the sweep today. It's a 5:40 first pitch. St. Louis Composting, STLcompost.com. I speak highly of this company because we use them, and we were very happy with the results. What we wanted was mulch. What we got was a website, STLcompost.com, that offered us all different kinds of mulch. I had no idea there were that many kinds, more than I see in the store. You could shop different kinds of mulch, different kinds of soil, compost. This is STLcompost.com. They have 9 locations in the St. Louis area. So if you have a truck or trailer, you can pick up your order at any of their 9 locations. No need to order online or pay delivery fees. You can stop by and they'll take care of the loading. Or you can do what we did, which is go online, go and buy some mulch and have it delivered to your home. That's exactly what we do. If it's just a few bags or bulk compost, go with stlcompost.com. They transform organic yard waste into premium compost. The largest and most trusted compost provider in the St. Louis area, St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
The legendary sound of the Doobie Brothers is rolling into town. Don't miss the show. Coming to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, September 4th, with special guest, the Coral Reefer Band. It's a night of timeless hits, epic harmonies, and classic rock energy like only the Doobies can deliver. Tickets are still available and can be found at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, head to KMOX.com/events.
Total Information AM. Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it is 6:50. Time for another check of traffic and weather, and we'll start with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got some slow traffic out there right now, Debbie. This traffic reports the service at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, but the slowdown we had eastbound 70 through Cave Springs is pretty well gone. It's just a little crowded at Cave Springs now, not slow back at 370 like it was 10 minutes ago. There's volume on southbound 61, south of Highway P, down onto 64 through Prospect, just some slow stretches on the way through there. On northbound 270, you'll find it slow north of 55 through about the Sappington Road overpass, Doherty Ferry to Manchester, approaching Clayton Road up to the work zone at Ladue. Northbound 55 between Butler Hill and Mattis, the right lanes are heavy. It backs up just north of the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. It looks like they may have cleared that crash eastbound 44 at the Lafayette exit. I believe the exit's back open now. It's hard to tell, but I don't see the delays through there like I did. Westbound 5570, you're still on the brakes. Approaching 203, it's slow up to 64 where they had that earlier crash, cleared over to the shoulder. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is your premier provider of fences, decks, patios, sunrooms, and more. Call them for a free estimate today. Now offering 20% off your next outdoor project. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Times of sun and clouds today. Breezy, lower humidity, high 87. Tonight, mainly clear, low 67. Tomorrow, sunshine, pleasant, high 84 degrees. Friday, 85. Saturday, 86. These are all with just lower humidity. Sunday, pleasant with sunshine, low humidity, a high of just 82. Right now, in downtown St. Louis, just a few clouds overhead. It's 72 degrees.
The news continues at 6:52. Knowing your banker has never been more important.
I would say the human element's the secret sauce.
Scammers aren't just spoofing websites and emails to fool you into giving up access to your account. Now they're trying to get your trust through fake phone calls and text messages.
These people are pros at the banking software. They have learned it somewhere along the line, and then they use that knowledge to exploit the client.
AI voice cloning could make it sound like your personal banker. Caleb Keller, business services manager at First Mid-Bank, says they would never ask for passwords or for your one-time code. He says the sensible solution is to hang up the phone when you get one of these calls and dial your bank back on a phone number that you know is really theirs. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
St. Louis's hometown brewery says it is giving back to the city with a $15 million investment.
The investment is being drawn from $300 million. Anheuser-Busch set aside earlier this year to grow its workforce and other improvements. Now we're seeing St. Louis as part of the pie.
This new investment will strengthen our supply chain infrastructure, helping move ingredients from U.S. farmers to the brewery, enabling more production and the delivery of more of our iconic American beers to our retail customers and to our consumers.
Cesar Vargas, AB's chief external affairs officer, he says the $15 million also will open their technical excellence center to local trade schools like Rankin. Before, only employees were allowed to train there.
That's Stuart McMillan reporting. Efforts to entice young people into the aviation and aerospace industry could come down to high pay. The St. Louis Regional Aerospace and Aviation Task Force has unveiled new information on their website about careers in the industry and median salaries. For example, sheet metal workers, $83,000 a year. the potential to earn $100,000 after just a few years of training. The task force was formed in response to the need for workers to fill as many as 1,000 new positions in the industry and about investments of $5 billion by Boeing, Westar Aviation, Gulfstream, and Seaver Industries.
The city of St. Louis hasn't updated its zoning codes much since the 1950s. Now, Mayor Kara Spencer's office is announcing an effort to update the antiquated zoning code with a goal of making the process easier to understand, more predictable, and allow for it to help and not hinder new development. A phased approach is planned over the next 18 months, allowing feedback on one section at a time with the goal of updating the entirety of the zoning code by next August. The launch event is coming up on Wednesday, September 3rd at Forest Park's Visitor and Education Center.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
Robert Plant is celebrating a birthday today. Frontman of Led Zeppelin is 77 today. Demi Lovato is 33. Amy Adams, actress, is 51.
Local celebrity birthdays are sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back, family owned and top rated, RennerDoorSTL.com. Happy 82nd to Lindell Ornelas. Happy 59th wedding anniversary to Dick and Dolores Costco of O'Fallon, Illinois. Norman Pressman, Pamela Keeling, Melanie Steen, and happy birthday wishes to Jenny McAvoy.
And this guy's become a great friend to St. Louis. He is a big part of the Musial Awards as one of its producers.
Out west, temperatures 90s, 100s.
Al Roker
in the southwest
is 71 today. And a big happy birthday to our good friend Andy Bennis. The former Cardinals pitcher is 58.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hey, let's talk for a minute about St. Louis Public Library. It is one of my favorite places, and with good reason, because there's always something going on. For an example, just today, they're doing a history buffet book club. That's actually at the Fountain on Locust. Central Writers Group, if you've been trying to write something, you can do it with this online group where you write for 20 minutes and then you get to share what you've written with the group. Recording room orientation. Yeah, they have a recording room where you can do your podcast and anything else you want to do at Central Library. There's movies this afternoon at the Baden branch and so much more. Oh, create a custom mug at the Dival branch. Like I said, just check out the events at slpl.org. And join us on Facebook, Book Chat with Debbie Monterrey and St. Louis Public Library. About 1,600 members strong now, people who love books and talking about books and authors, and author interviews exclusive for our members. We had Karen Slaughter last week, Julia Quinn, Eric Larson, Bonnie Garmis, Chris Bojalian. We get a lot of big names on Book Chat. St. Louis Public Library is St. Louis's original search engine. It's slpl.org.
Dive into adventure this summer at the St. Louis Aquarium's Summer of the Shark. Get face to fin with some of the ocean's most awe-inspiring creatures in shark-themed exhibits, jaw-dropping displays, and interactive experiences for the whole family. Whether you're a fin-tastic fan or just curious, there's hands-on fun and fascinating facts around every corner at the St. Louis Aquarium. Don't miss your chance to make a splash. Plan your visit today at stlouisunionstation.com. That's stlouisunionstation.com.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. I am quite aware of the dangers being on the road. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. These families' lives will be changed in an instant. We fight for these families as if they were our own. We've become America's largest injury law firm by winning cases just like these. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Injured? Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're your neighbors, your friends, your support system. From your first visit, you'll experience expert care backed by the strength of our entire health network. At HSHS, we put your health first, with medical expertise and kindness that makes you feel valued at every step. HSHS, connected to our community, committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring to learn more.
What a beautiful day and several days ahead of us. Let's check the traffic. 6:59. Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got slow traffic out there right now, Tom. On northbound 270, it's a little busy from 55 most of the way up to Tesson Ferry. Approaching Doherty Ferry all the way to Ladue is slow. Southbound 270 right through the Ladue area is kind of busy. We have heavy traffic on southbound 61 from basically Highway P down onto 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound Highway 70K to TR Hughes. That's a little off the pace. If you're on northbound 55, the right lanes between Butler Hill and Mattis still a little busy. From the Union Road overpass up to the river to Pear is slow. It looks like the road work is no longer an issue. Eastbound 64 passing 159, and westbound 5570 is better, but it's still slow approaching 203 up to 64. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the CBS News World News Roundup, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Stacey Lynn. Hurricane Aaron is causing some dangerous conditions along the East Coast. Our coverage begins with meteorologist Rob Marciano in North Carolina's Outer Banks.
This morning, Hurricane Aaron's winds are expanding as it churns toward the U.S. Its massive swells slamming the eastern seaboard, causing dangerous rip currents and shutting down beaches.
I mean, everybody should be concerned. An Olympic swimmer would not be able to fight the power of a rip current.
Similar precautions are being taken 600 miles north in New Jersey. CBS's Meg Oliver is there.
Swimming is banned along much of the Jersey Shore with red flag warnings in effect. We're already feeling strong winds and waves up to 10 feet high, with the worst of Aaron yet to come.
While a vote is expected to pass today on Texas's congressional redistricting maps, Democratic State Representative Cassandra Garcia Hernandez says they will not stop fighting.
We will be working on the floor, strategizing and making sure that we bring the fight, and we will not allow them to continue to keep silencing our communities.
And correspondent Michael Wallace tells us Republican state lawmakers in California are suing Democrats over the new maps they're proposing.
The lawsuit before the state Supreme Court claims Democratic lawmakers are violating the state constitution by not allowing for a 30-day review period for the redistricting bills. Democrats plan to pass the bills tomorrow, but Republicans like State Assemblyman Carl DeMaio contend the Constitution doesn't allow those votes to be held until September 18th.
We have a corrupt court if they do not intervene.
The Democrats' new map would likely give them 5 new seats in Congress, offsetting the 5 seats Republicans in Texas are likely to gain with their new map. An Israeli military official says they're calling up 50,000 reservists before a planned offensive in Gaza City. BBC correspondent Yolan Nell is in Jerusalem.
Part of the intention is to increase the pressure on Hamas. And we're expecting the Israeli government, the cabinet in the coming days, to sign off on the military plans to go into Gaza City.
Do you always feel tired during the day? CBS's Vicki Barker says it could be a warning sign.
Scientists writing in the medical journal Lancet eBiomedicine say they've found a link between excessive daytime sleepiness, or EDS, and a substance called tyramine. It's typically found in aged cheeses, smoked meats, and alcoholic drinks, as well as overripe or fermented foods.
And they say if you are among the roughly 1 in 3 Americans who suffer from this, you might want to cut out those delicious foods out of your diet. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or 2 half geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to goodrx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
It is 7:04, and we've got mostly sunny skies, 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. St. Charles residents packed the city council meeting, even though there was no vote on a proposed data center. The unnamed Fortune 100 company withdrew their request for a conditional use permit.
At the St. Charles Convention Center, the above capacity crowd was well over 1,000, and it spilled out into the hallway, and they were vocal from the start to the finish, well over 3 hours.
It's not just the data center. It's that nothing should ever be built on this site.
No matter what they tell you how safe this is, there will be leaching into the water. It's not if, it's when. Why didn't you come to us before that? Why didn't you tell Cumulus? We're not interested unless you take this to the public first.
The data center is not welcome here now or ever in our wellhead protection district.
There are crumbling infrastructure. There are so many water main breaks. There's so many things on Main Street that can be repaired and throughout the whole city. Let's use those union jobs, but let's use them in a way that impacts our community positively for years to come, not negatively.
The only people in support of the data center were the union workers from all the trades because of the promise of good jobs to build the facility and that the unidentified mega company will employ then 50 people. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
I'm Michael Calhoun in downtown St. Louis with a tech company that is opening in the region. San Francisco-based firm Scale AI is moving into the historic Post-Dispatch building as an anchor tenant. Scale AI has a valuation of nearly $30 billion and backing from giants like Meta, Amazon, and NVIDIA. It provides the data used to train AI systems. The new lab in St. Louis is focused on national security and geospatial data. The decision places Scale AI at the center of the city's planned Downtown North Innovation District and close to the headquarters of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. It's a move that bolsters St. Louis's efforts to become a center for defense, mapping, and intelligence technology.
Before their vote to buy a commercial office building for its parking garage, Chesterfield city leaders heard an earful from taxpayers.
I believe, and I know many of our residents believe, that this is the right time, the right location, and what seems like an acceptable price, and it would be short-sighted not to follow through on this opportunity for Chesterfield residents now and our future.
And from former Mayor Bob Nation.
The city of Chesterfield has no business owning a commercial office building at any price, but especially at an inflated price that is contemplated here.
In the end, council members voted 6-2 to acquire that office building and the parking garage. Parking is needed for nearby Central Park. The hope is that lease income will allay the cost and the building might eventually become a community center.
Mayor Kara Spencer reacts to the report into the City Emergency Management Agency's issues surrounding May's tornado.
I asked Mayor Spencer about the part of the report that says the SEMA commissioner, Sarah Russell, did not know the sirens were not activated until the mayor asked why they weren't. Here's the mayor's tearful response.
And this was a question I did think that our emergency management leader should have the answer to immediately. And I do believe that that person should know emphatically whether or not the sirens had gone off. And so understanding that that answer wasn't clear was a problem.
Mayor Spencer declined to comment on the status of Commissioner Russell's job. In St. Louis City Hall, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
We're going to check the roadways and the weather for you. And after this break, we'll also tell you about maybe some jobs you might want to talk to your kids about. That's all on the way. It's 7:08.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. It is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed. Here's what it does for me and what it will do for you. Optimizes thyroid function, which gets your metabolism rocking and rolling, helps you with appetite and craving control. All-day focused energy comes with that, plus the reduced cortisol levels helps you get a better night's sleep. So get out to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
with the heat we have here in St. Louis, just a note, most air conditioners aren't set or able to handle 100 degrees without running constantly. So before you freak out and think your air conditioner is bad, here's a few tips. If you don't have ceiling fans in your bedrooms, you can get pedestal fans and put them in your room. Keep those running all the time. On a second-story house, put one pedestal fan on top of your steps and blow it into the foyer area up high so it's cooling the heat as it's coming up and circulating the air. If you have an attic fan, simple, quick fix, plastic bag, cut it up, and duct tape, because what's happening is it's sucking in all your attic air and the heat and humidity from the outside. Try those things before you call anybody or you call me. But if you did that, please call me, Bart Inman, 314-293-2600. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. God bless.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
It's 7:10. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still busy in spots, Tom. If you're on southbound 270 right now, we've got a backup. Actually, let's call it south of Page where it gets heavy. It backs up through Olive most of the way down to Ladue, but it's heavy all the way down through that work zone to about 64 in that area right now. Northbound 270 north of 55 to Gravois is bogged down. Big Bend all the way up to Ladue. There's slow pockets. Same thing out west. There's slow pockets. Southbound 61 bunches up a little bit right at Highway P, and then about midway down from there to Wentzville Parkway, it's slow again on to 64. Most of the way up to Lake St. Louis Boulevard. Eastbound 70, Wentzville Parkway into 64 is busy, and there's slow stuff from T.R. Hughes to 79 after that. Northbound 55, the right lane's just a touch busy at Butler Hill from Bayless up through Virginia. There's a couple of slow spots. Downtown, we're doing better, though. 5570 west of 111 through 203 Exchange. Everything is thinned out in that area completely. We do have a new injury crash in North County at Old Halls Ferry at Pershall. Next update is 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, a mix of sun and clouds today. It'll be rather breezy with lowering humidity this afternoon, the high 87, and mainly clear tonight, though 67. A pleasant day tomorrow with plenty of sunshine, the high 84. Friday, sunny to partly cloudy and delightful, the high 85. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Mostly sunny, 72 degrees now in downtown St. Louis.
It's 7:12. There is a mega merger in local TV that you should know about. Nexstar, which owns Fox 2 and STL 11, is buying Tegna, which owns 5 on your side.
Our goal is to become a big company, a bigger company, and hopefully be able to compete on a level playing field with big tech that is pervasive in all aspects of media, advertising, programming, sports rights. And so this is our goal, both to play both offense and defense, to maintain a vital industry for America and a vital source of information.
Traditionally, one company could only own multiple stations in the same market if 2 of them weren't top tier. Nexstar CEO Perry Sook credits deregulation for now opening that up. And it sounds ominous for Channel 5. Take a listen.
Well, there are 35 markets in this transaction where both Tegna and Nexstar operate television stations. So there will be a combination of those into one facility. Think of it, if you will, as operating 2 newspapers off of a single printing press.
Sook says he hopes for regulatory approval in about 6 months and then expect all of the operating expense reductions to be executed within a year of closing.
Efforts to entice young people into the aviation and aerospace industry could come down to high pay. The St. Louis Regional Aerospace and Aviation Task Force has unveiled new information on their website about careers in the industry and median salaries. For example, sheet metal worker, $83,000 a year. The potential to earn $100,000 after a few years of training out of high school. The task force was formed in response to the need for workers to fill as many as 1,000 new positions in the industry and about $5 billion in investments by Boeing, Westar Aviation, Gulfstream, and Seaver Industries.
Anheuser-Busch is once more investing in St. Louis. Stuart McMillan was at the official announcement.
We are announcing an additional $15 million investment in our St. Louis brewery. This new investment, absolutely.
That's Cesar Vargas, AB's Chief External Affairs Officer, cut off by applause there. It was outside the company's Technical Excellence Center, which opened in 2022 as education for employees of Anheuser-Busch. Now, with the investment, AB is opening the center to technical schools like Rankin so that their students can be inspired to work for the St. Louis Brewery.
St. Louis-based Peabody Energy canceling its deal to buy Australian steelmaking coal assets from Anglo American. It's a deal worth $3.8 billion. Peabody says they have cause to terminate the deal, but Anglo American says it will seek damages. Peabody began reviewing their options after production that was paused at a mine because of high carbon monoxide levels following a mine fire.
The player to bank on, brought to you by Community America Credit Union, invested in you. I have a lot of choices here because last night the Cardinals got after it. They had a dozen hits. They had a great game out of Ivan Herrera. He had 2 hits, drove in 3. Lars Nootbaar had a couple of hits and scored a run. Wilson Contreras had 2 hits. Mason Wynn scored 2 runs. Thomas Saggese was 3 for 4 with 2 runs scored. But I'm going to go with the pitcher, Michael McGreevy. He had a better game than his line would indicate.
Augustine Ramirez holding the bat down on the knob, wearing white batting gloves. The pitch. Strike 3 called on the outside corner.
John Rooney with the call on KMOX. That was in the first inning. In the second,
The 2-2 pitch, waved at and missed. McGreevy strikes out his third, fanning Hernandez.
Michael McGreevy looking like a future star in this rotation. He's been very good. Here he is, though, making a mistake in the fourth.
As the pitch is grounded back to McGreevy, he's got a shot at third, and he overthrows Gorman into right field. An error by the pitcher. McGreevy allows Marcy to score a better throw, and they have him. They have him in a rundown. But that ball was airmailed over the head of Nolan Gorman, and it's now 4-2 St. Louis. And defense has hurt the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Ricky Horton with the call on KMOX. Horton and any pitcher would know the good pitchers buckle down after that. When they make a mistake, they lock back in.
He has the sign he wants, and from the stretch, the runners lead at second and third. The pitch. A swing and a miss. Liam Hicks goes for a low pitch and strikes out.
Michael McGreevy went 6 innings. He allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. 3 of those runs were earned. McGreevy didn't walk anyone last night and struck out 5. That's a solid outing for his 5th win of the year. McGreevy is 5-2 on the season. The bullpen was dynamite. 3 hitless innings for Swanson, Romero, and O'Brien, and the Cardinals beat the Marlins 7-4. McGreevy threw 80 pitches, 55 were strikes. Let's listen in on Michael McGreevy. He's a mature young man visiting with reporters after the game. This is FanDuel Sports Network Midwest.
Yeah, it's just figuring out that routine. I know I said that last time. I'm giving you guys repetitive answers, but really sticking to that routine up here in the big leagues is just kind of just learning how to be a big leaguer, facing big league teams, big league stadiums, just feeling comfortable with yourself and like that yourself can play up here and continue to just execute when you can.
Michael, after the overthrow to Gorman, what's that sequence kind of like when you get the comeback or the next moment? But is it like one where you tell yourself something in between? Like, how do you kind of slow yourself down to make sure you know within yourself?
Yeah, well, he wasn't off as far as Marcy was. He got back to the bag, so there wasn't any room for a throw. But, you could laugh at yourself. It's still a kid's game. Looking back, you make the throw to first, kind of looking in my dugout, kind of waved the finger a little bit. I even look in the Marlins dugout a little bit and laughed because I've been playing a bunch of those guys in Jacksonville, even this year, like Johnston, Marcy. You've seen those guys a bunch, and you can still have fun with it, especially when, you mess up like that.
The way that he talks about situations and about the game, he reminds you of a young Adam Wainwright. Now, whether he ends up having a career like Wainwright, that remains to be seen. But McGreevy has a good head on his shoulders, and he's a good pitcher. The Cardinals benefited from that. They won the game. They go for the sweep this afternoon, a 4:45 pregame. 5:40 is the first pitch down in Miami, the Cardinals and the Marlins. I'm Tom Ackerman on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
104.1 FM, KMOX. News, talk, sports.
Missouri, get ready! DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your basketball picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we go live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX now to gear up for launch in Missouri. Be the first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
A lot of people want to age at home. They want to stay in their homes where they're comfortable. Maybe it's you, maybe it's your parent, maybe a loved one. And I get it. And it's really important to have a trusted partner. That makes all the difference because sometimes you don't know who to call to get the help that you need. In the St. Louis region, we are so lucky to have EverTrue Anywhere Care, formerly known as Lutheran Senior Services. Of course, you've heard of them. They've been helping older Americans, older St. Louisans for over a century. You probably know about their local life plan communities, but did you know that EverTrue provides world-class in-home services? For nearly 20 years, they've been doing this, helping older adults live life to the fullest. So EverTrue Anywhere Care can help you to navigate a dementia diagnosis, end-of-life care, as well as bereavement, so many different offerings. Maybe you just need a little help around the house. Well, give them a call at 314-597-6498. 314-597-6498. It's evertrueanywherecare.org to learn more. evertrueanywherecare.org.
Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
You know, you can also watch us on YouTube, X, and Facebook. I got to admit, sometimes I forget the camera's on. So, you can see me eating snacks, yawning. It's in the morning. I'm caffeinated, though.
A good stretch.
Yeah. It's, if you want to see us behind the scenes with Debbie Monterrey, I'm Tom Ackerman. Here's Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got a lot of slow going out there right now, Tom. Northbound 55, the right lane's approaching Butler Hill up to 270. All lanes from the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. North 270 as you ramp on from 55 is backed up. It's slow up to 44. Slow again from Big Bend all the way to Ladue. South 270 Page down to Ladue. That's pretty busy. If you're on southbound 61, right around Highway P down onto 64 to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard, it's slow again both sides of Winghaven, 94 to Research Park. After that, it's not so bad. If you're on eastbound Highway 70, Wentzville Parkway into 64 is slow. Right around T.R. Hughes, a little busy again from 370 to Cave Springs after that. And then on the Illinois side, downtown 5570, delays approaching 203 up to 64 and 64 west of 3rd Street to the Poplars busy. And westbound 70 past the Musial Veterans Bridge downtown, there's a little heavy traffic there as well. They're working to clear that crash. It was a rescue crash. Old Halls Ferry at Prashal in North County as well. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's a nice morning out there. It's a breezy morning. It'll be a nice breezy day with lowering humidity. That's a nice phrase. Lowering humidity. Sun and clouds, a high of 87 today. 84 tomorrow, 85 on Friday. Right now, we've got a few clouds. 72 degrees in downtown St. Louis, and the weather sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
It's 7:22.
Last week's town hall should have been held months ago. The applicant had every opportunity to build trust, but instead gave residents vague answers and thin details.
That's St. Charles City Councilman Justin Faust following last night's marathon council meeting where dozens of residents spoke against a data center being built in an area that is already contaminated and floods regularly.
It is not in area that floods everyone in 100 years. It is in a place that floods every time it rains.
We have two awesome locations in St. Charles County for your data center. One is out near, it's exactly south of the Bush Wildlife Headquarters on a nuclear landfill. It's safe now. They get tours there.
St. Charles residents' frustration with the cloak of secrecy surrounding this data center was not quelled by the Cumulus project attorney Cord Maxwell's assurance they will be more transparent next time around.
Because this town and this future are worth more than the short-term gain of a few people who don't even think they owe us transparency. Therefore, I say no data center now, later, or ever.
Yeah. We already have a Superfund site that is under remediation that has been there for 20 years. It is also plumed out into other areas.
Then the scientist and geotechnical engineer spoke.
The aquifer where this proposed data center is, it's perhaps the most vulnerable type of aquifer on the planet. It is currently contaminated. I know all you folks know very well about that. It's got vinyl chloride in it.
Will this project, the data center, create alterations to the existing water table that could cause movement of the existing contaminated water? We know there's areas of existing contamination, and if you change the water table, movements will occur.
Maria Kina, KMOX News.
The report into the city's emergency management agency's actions during and immediately following the May 16th tornado revealed Commissioner Sarah Russell unaware the sirens weren't activated until later in the evening when Mayor Kara Spencer asked her about it. The mayor was asked how she felt in that moment when Russell was unable to give her an answer.
We heard immediately following the tornado concerns that the siren had not gone off. Questions, Mayor, did the siren go off? And I remember thinking, we were here in the mayor's office when the tornado ripped through our city. And we had a meeting scheduled actually with the commissioner of the Board of Public Service to review the PSAP, the progress on the emergency, the PSAP construction, and realized that we weren't going to have that meeting. We didn't know the extent of what had happened. We just activated and left immediately. But I remember thinking that I could not remember if the sirens had gone off. And when we started to get concerns and questions from the community, we took that very seriously and worked to get to the bottom of whether or not the sirens had gone off. And this was a question I did think that our emergency management leader should have the answer to immediately. And I do believe that that person should know emphatically whether or not the sirens had gone off. And so understanding that that answer wasn't clear was a problem.
Spencer would not comment on the status of Russell's job.
The city of St. Louis hasn't updated its zoning codes much since the 1950s. Now, Mayor Spencer's office is announcing an effort to update the antiquated zoning code with a goal of making the process easier to understand, more predictable, and allow for it to help and not hinder new development. A phased approach is planned over the next 18 months, allowing feedback on one section at a time with the goal of updating the entirety of the zoning code by next August. The launch event is coming up on Wednesday, September 3rd at Forest Park's Visitor and Education Center.
Despite being funded through fiscal year 2026, uncertainty looms for Head Start programs across the country. At a celebration of the program's 60th anniversary in St. Louis, YWCA of Metropolitan St. Louis CEO Dr. Cheryl Watkins encourages those involved with the program in some capacity to promote its success stories to help keep it alive.
So I ask everyone, please keep that support and advocacy going and coming so that we can be here for the next 60 plus years.
The program receives more than $12 million from the federal government nationwide in fiscal year 2026.
It's 7:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
TedDrews.com.
Ooh, I could go for a Ted Drews frozen custard. Might do that today. Try an inspired flavor or create your own favorite. Over 30 toppings to choose from. A Ted Drews concrete sounds really good. I'll give you a little, let me give you one to try. All right. Go up there and tell them you want, if you like the sound of this, a peaches and macadamia nut concrete. You know who orders that? Travis Dillon, the owner of Ted Drews. That's his go-to order. During the summer, he said. In the winter, when they're Christmas tree shopping there, he goes for the hot fudge sundae. He told me that on KMOX, peaches and macadamia nuts. So I went up there and ordered one, and they looked at me and they said, "How did you know that that's the owners?" And I said, "Well, I had them on KMOX." It's awesome. Now, my actual order is a Heath Bar concrete. That's what I always do. But the peaches and macadamia nuts, a good one. Yeah, it's a good one. Ted Drews frozen custard is a tradition. It's at 6726 Chippewa, but it's also at 4224 South Grand. They have 2 locations. Ted Drews frozen custard. Indulge in St. Louis's legendary frozen custard at Ted Drews. Ted Drews frozen custard, unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend.
Oh, my Bob.
It's the annual KMOX Blood Drive with the American Red Cross, August 21st from 2 to 7 at multiple locations. Everyone who attempts to donate receives a $15 e-gift card. Make an appointment in the Red Cross Blood Donor app or at redcrossblood.org and enter KMOX for a drive near you.
All right, it is now 7:30, and we've got a few clouds and some sunshine downtown, 72 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we got slow traffic on northbound Highway 55, the right lanes, Butler Hill, Mattis, all lanes back up from the Union Road overpass, most of the way up through Weber, but it remains slow all the way to Virginia. Northbound 270, 55 through Gravois. Big Bend all the way to Ladue is heavy. South 270, Dorset down to Ladue. There's slow stuff there. Eastbound Highway 70, David Hochul Parkway almost into Interstate 64 is slow. And then again from K into 79 is busy. 370 through Cave Springs a little heavy. Earth City into the Rock Road. Southbound 61 north of Wentzville Parkway onto 64 to about the Boulevard. It's backed up between 364 and Winghaven. Slows midway into K. And then 94 to Research Park is busy through the Chesterfield Parkways and McKnight through Hanley. Westbound 64 Clayton Skinker out to the Interbelt. Westbound 70, it's actually 44 eastbound coming past the Arch Grounds out onto westbound 70 around Salisbury is busy, and 5570 jams midway in from 111 to 203. That's heavy to 64, and then on to the Poplar after that. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today should be really nice, especially compared to the last couple of weeks. We have a nice breeze out there. The humidity is going to be dropping, and a mix of sun and clouds with a high of 87 degrees. Tomorrow, sunshine and 84. It's 72 out there right now.
KMOX's Michael Calhoun now with the latest on Catherine Hanaway taking over for Andrew Bailey as Missouri Attorney General.
But will Hanaway continue to push on the same priorities that Bailey did? For instance, the Quo Warrento case to remove the St. Louis sheriff from office.
Definitely will continue to pursue the case involving the sheriff.
Bailey previously used the same procedure to push former Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner to eventually resign. Hanaway says she respects how Bailey used the power of his office to keep other elected officials accountable.
The leader of Missouri's House Democrats, Ashley Awney, calls Catherine Hanaway a solid upgrade from Andrew Bailey. In fact, she says Hanaway will be a vast improvement over her incompetent and unprofessional predecessor.
Congressman Wesley Bell is uneasy about Andrew Bailey's move from Missouri to D.C.
Bell says he wants to give Bailey the benefit of the doubt, but says the lawsuits Bailey has filed as Missouri's attorney general has him concerned. I asked him specifically about Bailey's lawsuits against Planned Parenthood and the abortion pill, mifepristone.
I'm very concerned. We're already seeing attacks against reproductive rights and abortion rights. We're seeing that from this administration, and it is dangerous.
Bell says the House Oversight Committee will step in if Bailey or this administration oversteps, but Democrats would need to regain control first. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Double check that phone call, that text message, or that email from your bank. You could find your account has been drained. First Mid-Bank is putting out the warning that scammers are getting even more sophisticated.
In the day that we live in of AI, voice generation, the communication methods that we have, whether it be text message, email, phone call, it's really easy to replicate, spoof a phone number, make it look and sound legitimate.
Business Services Manager Caleb Keller says sometimes it almost seems like the scammers have experience in the industry. He says human interaction is more important than ever. If you're not sure it's your bank, hang up and call them.
The news sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. michaelsflooringoutlet.com. We'll check your money report next.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Zero Res Carpet Cleaning. So this is August, and that is Pet Appreciation Month for Zero Res. We love our pets. I love my pets. They are a part of the family, no doubt about it. But the rest of my family doesn't poop and pee on the carpeting. Well, Nick sometimes. So if you're having that same sort of trouble with your pets that I do, just reach out to Zero Res, because the deal this month is 3 rooms of carpet clean for $129, 15% off your pet odor treatments, and $50 off your air duct cleaning. They are going to be on time. They're going to be accurate with their bids. They are going to be compassionate. They're going to be professional. They're going to work their tails off, and they have the 30-day gotta love it guarantee, which means if they don't blow you away, have them back. 314-474-2020, or you can also book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
What is your next success story? At University of Maryland Global Campus, you can succeed again with more than 135 affordable online degrees and certificates to help you move your career forward. From cybersecurity and AI to healthcare and MBA, our programs help you build critical thinking, leadership, and communication skills that set you apart in today's job market. Apply now and save with no application fee through September 3rd. Visit umgc.edu to get started. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Now that I'm a dad, I can't stop thinking about what would happen to my kids if something happened to me, like losing the house or not affording college.
Yeah, that used to keep me up at night too. It's why I finally got life insurance from Ethos. It's 100% online. No medical exams, just a few health questions. I got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day.
I never realized it was that simple. Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life.
Rates may vary. Bill monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
It is 7:36. This is Total Information AM. Your money report is sponsored by Busey Bank.
Good morning. Lowe's posted second quarter sales that were in line with estimates, but that's not the biggest news from the home improvement chain. The company announced a deal to acquire Foundation Building Materials, a privately held distributor of interior building products with locations in the U.S. and Canada. Lowe's is paying nearly $9 billion. Several Claire's stores across the U.S. and Canada are getting a reprieve. The bankrupt retailer Claire's Holdings struck a deal to sell what it calls a significant number of its North American stores to private holding company Ames Watson. Claire's says it has pushed the liquidation process at stores that are included in the sale. Liquidation will continue at other outlets. And Meta Platforms has restructured its newly formed artificial intelligence group. The social network operator divided the group into 4 teams. The company is hoping the change will make better use of the AI talent it's been hiring. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
This is the Let's Revitalize Our Neighborhoods commitment. This is the roll up our sleeves and pitch in commitment. This is Busey, where our commitment to strengthen our communities is a top priority. Through energetic, engaged volunteers, through monetary support, community leadership, and advocacy. Because Busey is more than a bank that does well, we're a bank that does good. UC Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Energy security isn't a slogan, it's a necessity. American-made energy means we call the shots instead of depending on foreign sources to fill our tanks. Made here in America, ethanol keeps gas prices lower at the pump. It's reliable, creates jobs, and strengthens farming communities. Tell Congress to support nationwide year-round access to E15, a lower-cost fuel made with 15% ethanol, because American-made energy should come first. Paid for by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-9700. 800-885-9700. That's 800-885-9700.
Looking for a place to call home without all the maintenance? Check out the Towns of Linneman Park, new townhomes by Lombardo, located in St. Peters. These new construction townhomes are located on the south side of 36494, east of Harvester Road, and offer floor plans featuring 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a loft, and 2-car attached garages. Community amenities include a clubhouse, pool, pickleball courts, dog park, and walking trails. Tour our newly decorated display and fall in love with your new townhome. Visit lombardohomes.com for more information.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
740. Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Now, busy highways, Tom. This traffic reports the service of Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electrical. If you're on northbound Highway 55, the right lanes are busy. Butler Hill up to 270. All lanes back up from the Union Road overpass up across River to Pear, heavy up through really Virginia. Northbound 270 backs up as you ramp on from 55 most of the way to Tesson Ferry. And it's slow up to 44, jammed from there to Big Bend, but it remains busy all the way to Ladue. South 270 south of Dorset to Ladue, that's heavy. Southbound 61 beginning at Highway P, midway down to Wentzville Parkway, and then approaching 64 on through Prospect to about Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's a little slow. From 364 past Wing Haven, a little busy. 94 to Research Park, Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake, and then McKnight to Big Bend. South 170 Bogstown, south of Olive. Westbound 64 Science Center headed out to Big Bend's kind of heavy. Eastbound 70 at Jam from David Hochul into Wentzville Parkway starts at least stop-and-go pockets. Most of the way into 64, it's busy. K into 79 from 5th Street into the Rock Road's heavy. 364 east of the Veterans Bridge to 141 looks a little busy. And westbound 5570 jams west of 111 to 203. And then it's just heavy on the Poplar. Eastbound 44 past the Poplar to the wards. Mutual Veterans is backed up as well. Next update is 750 from the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From now on, if you sprang a leak, need a water heater, or have hard water,
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Electrical.
Jerry Kelly will fix the leak, install the thing, and make that hard water easy. From the company who's got your whole home covered.
JerryKelly.com.
Let's check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg, because he has some good news. And I think if you step outside today, you'll enjoy it.
I think so, Debbie. The good news is that the heat is gone, and it's not coming back for a while either. That's even better news, I think, through the beginning of next week. Sunshine will dominate today, a few clouds, nice little breeze out of the north, and that humidity will gradually go down with time. The high 87. Tonight should be mainly clear, and for the first night of the week, we're going to see lows in the 60s across the air, about 67. Sunshine tomorrow, just a beautiful day. The high 84. Sunshine and some clouds Friday up to 85. Partly sunny Saturday, high 86. A little cooler and less humid for Sunday with sunshine and a high of 82. Right now it's 72 at St. Peter's and in Florissant. Mostly sunny, 74 downtown at the Arch. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's 7:43. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. Sports is coming up in 2 minutes. Eli Drinkowitz, the Mizzou coach, has a decision on his hands and could announce it today about what he's going to do with the starting quarterback. We'll hear from him in just a moment.
1120 Radio, KMOX St. Louis.
Yes, today is National. I know.
Took that one out of
big time.
Files.
Today is National Radio Day, a day to celebrate the incredible invention that changed how we share information and entertainment. While many inventors contributed to its creation, Guglielmo Marconi is credited with creating the first commercially available wireless radio. The radio's first function was practical, serving the military and providing emergency public services. Today, over 15,000 licensed broadcast radio stations operate in the U.S.
As you may know, KMOX, the voice of St. Louis, has been on the air for 100 years, since 1925. In 1960, KMOX pioneered talk radio, as it was the first station to transition to full-time talk with the At Your Service concept. We are 1120 on the AM dial, 50,000 red hot watts, and then, of course, new this year, crystal clear 104.1 FM.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. News Talk 1120, KMOX.
Why exactly is KMOX so meaningful to St. Louisans? The institution for nearly 100 years has touched our lives in so many ways, from gathering and broadcasting essential information.
Now, a KMOX Flood Center update.
This is Nan Wyatt in the KMOX Flood Center. Sandbaggers are still needed this afternoon in Prairie du Rocher, Illinois.
This water is just racing through this break. The break is several hundred feet across, and the water is just gushing through here. There's a farmhouse I'm looking at, and it's floating.
To getting answers for you.
Don't be the skedaddle governor. Talk to the press.
We're there.
KMOX's Michael Calhoun has been embedded into a Missouri National Guard unit headed for the Gulf
to describe the St. Louis moments that go down in history. There's sparks rising from West Florissant. There goes another tear gas canister. And the ones which bring us together.
3-2 delivery on its way. Swing and a high drive to center field. Get up, baby. Get up, baby. Get up. Oh, yeah. David Freese has just sent us into game number 7. This series is tied.
Talk show hosts that become like friends.
Good morning, everyone. John McCormick speaking, the man who walks and talks at midnight. From our little part of the world, the city of St. Louis, here comes 50,000 clear channel red hot watts of the wide horizon late night signal of radio.
What do you think about them apples?
Of course, it's important to keep you company, but far more important than that is to keep you thoroughly informed.
This is St. Louis. KMOX is involved in it.
Michael Calhoun.
KMOX
News.
And we're the home of the St. Louis Cardinals. We have been for many, many years. And yesterday, the Cardinals won another ball game. They beat the Marlins 7-4. They've taken the first two of this series, and they have won the series. Their manager is Oliver Marmol, and he appears every Tuesday on KMOX on the Gas House Gang. Yesterday, he was asked this question by Bernie Miklas.
Given the relationship you've been building with Chaim Bloom, do you have any feeling whatsoever about him wanting you to be back as the manager?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a great way of answering this other than I think so. But at the end of the day, man, like, he has to make the best decision for this organization. I know where I stand with my staff and with the players, and I'm comfortable with that. So for me, again, and I'm not just trying to skate around this. It's something I don't pay a ton of attention to. Like, I know what I bring to the table. I'm confident in what I do every day. But from what should he do stand, like, that's up to Chaim. My relationship with him up to this point has been great. And he'll make the decision that makes the most sense for everybody moving forward.
Marmol's contract expires at the end of the 2026 season. Bloom is taking over for John Mozeliak at the end of this season as president of baseball operations. Now to football. Eli Drinkwitz, head coach of the Missouri Tigers, is dealing with a decision, and that is, who is he going to start at quarterback? Will it be Penn State transfer Bo Perbula? Will it be the carryover from the last few years, Sam Horn? Or will he go with both? If you listen to this answer, I think it's possible he could use both. Take a listen.
Yeah. It's been something that's kept me up every night and keeps, wakes me up in the morning. I think those guys have played really good. Both of them really well. In fact, the 2 minute, 4 minute just kind of sealed it in my mind. Like, my gosh, these guys both can play at a high level and win. So what that means moving forward, I don't know yet. I just got off the field today, but we'll start UCA prep tomorrow, and we'll have a decision and talk to both those guys here in the next 24 hours about what we're going to do and make sure the team's comfortable with the plan moving forward, and we'll let y'all know.
So we may know as early as today. A week from tomorrow, Mizzou will host Central Arkansas. Ins and Outs sponsored by Innsbrook Resort, where every day is the weekend. I recall last fall staying at Innsbrook on a Mizzou Oklahoma weekend, and that was a great call. I would book for this fall as summer is winding down here. Booking a fall weekend at Innsbrook's a great idea if you're going to go to a football game in Columbia. It was great for us. And we went to that game against the Sooners, and then it was a night game. So we didn't have to drive all the way back to St. Louis. We just drove to Innsbrook and continued our vacation weekend. Or you could go right now and play golf. Or look at the weather's amazing. Look up Kevin Korn. He's the pro at Innsbrook. He'll book you a tee time. Innsbrook is a public golf course, and it's a fantastic golf course. All the homes scattered throughout that golf course, you're going to start dreaming about your vacation home or maybe a permanent residence on one of the lakes at Innsbrook. There are 100 lakes and over 7,500 acres to play with at Innsbrook. Innsbrook-resort.com. Innsbrook Resort, where every day is the weekend.
Selling your car online sounds easy. Snap a few pics, list a price, then what? Wait weeks? Haggle with strangers? At Suntrip Ford, we actually make it easy to sell your car. Visit Suntrip Ford Kirkwood or Westport, and our expert appraisers will give you a fast, fair offer on the spot. Or skip the trip and get an instant quote at suntripford.com. No guesswork, no games, just the best price. Visit suntripford.com today. Get more at Suntrip Ford.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at MissouriBroadcasters.org.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Let's get you caught up on traffic and weather, starting with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, we've got slow going on eastbound Highway 70 from Forestville pretty much all the way into Wentzville Parkway, from Lake St. Louis into T.R. Hughes. From east of 94 into the Rock Road, southbound 61 from Highway P down onto 64 through Prospect at least is busy. It's slow again, 364 through Winghaven, 94 to Research Park, approaching Boone's Crossing to almost Timberlake, and then a couple of slow spots east of Lindbergh through the Inner Belt, westbound 64 Science Center through Big Bend's heavy, south 170 bogs down, approaching Page all the way to 64, south 270 from Dorset down through Olive, and then it's in better shape after that. North 270 still slow ramping on from 55. Sappington all the way to Ladou's busy from that point. Eastbound 44 approaching Bowles to Mraz is busy. A little heavy between Lindbergh and Big Bend. Northbound 55, the right lanes busy at Butler Hill. There's a slow spot Green Park to Revis, but it backs up Union Road overpass up to River to Pears, still heavy past Virginia, and then 44 from 55 in through the heart of downtown out on the westbound 70s busy. Westbound 5570 approaching 203. There's still some slow stretches to the Poplar. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Very nice forecast. Joe Lundberg says sun and clouds, breezy, lower humidity today, high 87, clear low 67 tonight. Tomorrow through the weekend, we're looking at temperatures in the mid 80s, 84 for tomorrow with plenty of sunshine each day. Sunday's high is only 82 with lots of sunshine and low humidity. Currently, we do have some sun in downtown St. Louis. It's 74 degrees.
The news continues at 7:52. Redistricting is important because it changes voting districts based on the census and shifting populations. Denise Lieberman with the Missouri Voter Protection Coalition says it is meant to ensure districts have fairly equal numbers. But
we should really be concerned when government start rigging the district lines in order to get the result that they want instead of allowing the people to select the result they want.
That's what's happening now, says Lieberman, with President Trump's call on Republican states to redistrict now so they can keep Democrats from gaining any seats in the House at the midterm elections.
Democracy is supposed to be by the people, of the people, for the people. This turns that notion upside down.
The Missouri Voter Protection Coalition is holding informational meetings on this topic Thursday in St. Peters and Friday in St. Louis City.
Police are reportedly investigating a deadly officer-involved shooting that took place overnight in Bell Ridge. The North County Police Cooperative said it happened on the 3300 block of Wellsburg Drive. The shooting followed a police pursuit that began about 15 minutes after midnight and involved St. Anne police. No officers were injured. The investigation into the circumstances of the shooting is ongoing.
A fatal crash in Jefferson County has left 2 people dead and a child injured. The Missouri State Highway Patrol says the crash happened just before 9 last night when a truck traveling too fast for conditions overcorrected and hit another vehicle head on. The drivers of both vehicles, a 26-year-old man and a 30-year-old woman, were killed in that crash. A 3-year-old in the second vehicle suffered minor injuries.
St. Louis County Police have issued an endangered missing persons advisory for 24-year-old Elijah Cole. He was last seen in the 30th block of Sherman Road around 6 o'clock last night. Cole is 5'10", 170 pounds with black hair and brown eyes. He has been diagnosed with a mental health condition and left his care facility without permission. If you have any information on his whereabouts, please call 911.
With all the recent uncertainty regarding government-approved vaccines, what do we need to know about this year's flu shot?
The CDC is again recommending the flu shot for mostly everyone over 6 months of age, and that action generally means most insurers will cover it. Madison Chopek is a reporter at PolitiFact. She talked with doctors about this season's flu vaccine.
Like last year's flu shot, this year's vaccine is known as a 3-component or a trivalent vaccine, and that protects against 3 influenza viruses. There's 2 influenza A viruses and 1 influenza B virus. This year's flu vaccine was altered to target a specific strain of the influenza A H3N2 virus, and that's based on what is expected to circulate this season.
The vaccine should be widely available starting next month. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
A tall honor for the Gateway to the West. Gateway Arch National Park has again earned accreditation from the American Alliance of Museums. It is the highest national recognition for museums in the United States. Gateway Arch National Park has been accredited since 1980. It's 7:56.
Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
Love walking through that park and love walking through parks in the St. Louis area just in general. We have some great parks. It's really one of the things we're known for. When you ask people about St. Louis, what do they love about it? We have a lot of beautiful trees and parks and great places to relax and unwind. And Gamma Tree Experts is behind a lot of that. You see, Gamma Tree Experts can help remove dead or dangerous limbs and trees in St. Louis parks. They do it all the time. They do it in recreation areas here in St. Louis. They do it for streets, trimming obstructive foliage away from streetlights and traffic signs. Those are high priority needs. And St. Louis municipalities are searching for ways to maximize their budget dollars, and they turn to Gamma Tree Experts for a lot of those things. Emergency response as well. A quick response to storm disasters. It's most successful if you take the time to plan ahead. And Gamma Tree Experts has longtime customers like Chesterfield, Clayton, Town and Country, Florissant, Northwoods, the city of St. Louis, St. Charles, St. Louis County Parks. They all lean on Gamma Tree Experts for those programs. Gamma Tree Experts, gammatree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
Hospital Sisters Health System isn't just in your community. We're part of it. Expert care and genuine support backed by a network that puts your health first. HSHS. Connected to our community. Committed to your health. Visit hshs.org/caring.
Hey guys, Clever here with my friend Mark Cantor at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, so I take this very seriously. Mark is a great attorney. He has a great team. He is from St. Louis. He is local. Call 314-628-9999 or visit cantorinjurylaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
Here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we've got slow traffic on eastbound 70, Debbie, midway in from east of David Hochul to Wentzville Parkway, I guess we'll call it, Lake St. Louis, in through to about T.R. Hughes is slow, Fifth Street through the Blanchette, and then it's not as bad. Southbound 61, Wentzville Parkway into 64 to Lake St. Louis Boulevard is heavy. There's a couple of pockets approaching Winghaven in through 94 Research Park, Boone's Crossing to almost Timberlake and east of Lindbergh through the inner belt. Westbound 64 from the Science Center headed out through Big Bend is busy. South 270 bogs down at Dorset. Pockets down to Ladue. It's just busy on the way through there. Northbound 270 approaching Tesson Ferry up to 44. It backs up 44 to Marshall Road, but again, still off the pace all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 44, east of Bowles through Mraz, a little crowded. Northbound 55, primarily from the Union Road overpass up through Virginia is the busy part. And then from 55 past the Poplars, kind of slow. And 5570 is more of a jam now. West of 111 up to 64, and then 64 from 3rd Street to the Poplar has heavy stretches. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Mid-America's most trusted voice for news. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Stacey Lynn. We begin with Hurricane Erin, a Category 2 storm threatening the East Coast. Meteorologist Rob Marciano is in North Carolina's Outer Banks.
They are prepping as if this is making a direct landfall. That's just what they do. They've had heavy equipment out trying to shore up some of the dunes along Highway 12 because they know that this water at some point, it's already doing it, will cut through some of these dunes and overtop some of those roadways.
The Jersey Shore could be impacted as well. That's where reporter Christina Fan is.
There are red flags along the beaches here. They are also present in the city and on Long Island. Today, the Jersey Shore could see waves of up to 9 feet, and tomorrow they could be as high as 13 feet.
Texas Republicans are expected to approve the state's new congressional maps today.
The only item on the Texas House call, House Bill 4. The congressional maps President Trump asked Texas Governor Greg Abbott to pass in order to flip as many as 5 seats to the Republicans. State Rep Todd Hunter filed the bill.
The intent of the changes was to increase Republican political performance.
Texas House Democrats hope they can win their fight in the courts, arguing the maps are racially gerrymandered and illegal. State Rep Ann Johnson.
This is about everybody maintaining their voice, their right to vote nationwide, and not rig the next election to benefit Trump.
Chris Fox for CBS News, Austin.
The Trump administration is taking steps to further deter illegal immigration. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said the entire wall along the U.S.-Mexico border is going to be painted black.
In the hot temperatures down here, when something is painted black, it gets even warmer, and it will make it even harder for people to climb.
She said President Trump was the one who came up with the idea. Peace talks between Russian President Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky could take place in Hungary. CBS News has confirmed Budapest is among the cities being considered for the historic meeting. Meanwhile, some Republican lawmakers are speaking out about Putin. North Carolina Senator Tom Tillis told the Takeout's Major Garrett.
I would not even want to be in the same state as Vladimir Putin. That's how much of a thug and a murderer I think he is. But, you know, the president's got to deal with unseemly people. So I'm going to give the president some leeway as long as we don't all of a sudden become so arrogant as to think that we should dictate the terms of peace for a sovereign nation.
Beverly Hills is no longer the most expensive neighborhood in America. Gables Estates in Coral Gables, Florida is now taking that top spot. According to Zillow's Home Value Index, the mansions in the exclusive waterfront community often exceed $21 million. 7 of the 10 priciest neighborhoods this year are located in the Sunshine State. This is CBS News.
Progressive Insurance, with insurance for cars, home, boat, motorcycles, RVs, and commercial vehicles at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com.
At 8:03, we have sunny skies, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Wednesday, August 20th. The news sponsored by the St. Louis Aquarium at Union Station. I'm Megan Lynch.
What we want from our council members tonight is the assurance that the board will not let this data center proposal come up in any form again.
To say that St. Charles residents were livid with a proposal to build a data center in an area already contaminated and that floods regularly was an understatement.
Last night, hundreds packed the St. Charles Convention Center to voice their opposition, even though the unnamed Fortune 500 company withdrew their request for a conditional use permit. The secrecy surrounding the company, the attorneys group Project Cumulus, representing the no-name company, required non-disclosure agreements be signed. Yet no one knows who signed the DNAs. All proved to be the breaking point for residents.
This is wrong. The city has spoken. We don't want it and we don't need it.
Thank you, Mr. Evers. We have stymied this plague for now, but they will be back. And next time their strategy will be more money and more convincing that this is good for us. To Mr. Maxwell and the Project Cumulus team, I say this: return to your master and tell him that the people of St. Charles and the surrounding regions want nothing to do with this abomination that he would destroy our lives with.
Mayor Dan Borgmeyer was the recipient of much of the
Then
anger.
we find out that the mayor has a relative that's selling the property in question. But
Please.
we didn't know that. So maybe we should hang a family tree in his office.
I'm not against a data center in any way, shape, or form. I am against a data center taking place on a protected wellhead. We call it protected for a reason.
Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
I'm Michael Calhoun in downtown St. Louis, where major San Francisco-based artificial intelligence company Scale AI is moving its St. Louis operations into the former Post-Dispatch building. The company's new lab here is dedicated to handling geospatial data for the U.S. government. It's part of the city's efforts to create a downtown north tech hub that capitalizes on the NGA headquarters that's being built 2 miles from here. Scale AI recently got a massive investment from Facebook's parent company Meta. Other investors include Amazon and Intel. It's valued at approximately $29 billion. In addition to the Department of Defense, its clients include Toyota and General Motors. The St. Louis lab is expected to be open by October.
Several office tenants' rent checks will now go to the city of Chesterfield. The 6-2 City Council decision to purchase an office building on the Parkway, mostly for access to its parking near busy Central Park, wasn't without dissent, including from a former mayor, Bob Nation.
Do we need to do something for parking? Absolutely. Do we need to buy an office building that comes with a parking garage that we may gain a few spaces? No.
Supporters urge the city not to be short-sighted.
The building, and especially the location, makes perfect sense. It is already nestled in Central City Park, overlooking the Awakening. It should be a part of our city. A satellite office for the parks would be a logical use, and the central location makes it easy for residents to use.
There was a last-minute effort to put the issue on the ballot. That failed. The measure to buy the building and garage passed. A report into St. Louis City's Emergency Management Agency highlights a number of flaws during and before May's tornado and corrective actions the city needs to take.
One of the key findings of the report is that the city should work immediately to fill out the staffing vacancies at the city's emergency management agency. I asked Mayor Kara Spencer how they plan to get this done. She says it starts with the leadership at the top of the agency.
We're going to be looking to
putting in place a permanent long-term director of the emergency management system that will help us really staff that office out.
However, when asked about the job status of SEMA Commissioner Sarah Russell, Mayor Spencer declined to comment, saying she would have more information available in the coming days. In St. Louis City Hall, Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Last night, 7-4 win over the Miami Marlins marks the second win in a row for the St. Louis Cardinals. The Redbirds go for the sweep tonight. 5:40 the game here on KMOX. It's 8:08. We will check traffic and weather in 2 minutes.
Hello, fellow Missourians. This is your Congressman Bob Onder. My top priority is serving you. Whether you need help with a VA claim, Social Security, Medicare, or any other federal issue, my team and I are here to cut through the red tape and give you answers. In the last 6 months alone, we have returned over $1 million to taxpayers. Call my office or visit my website, onder.house.gov, to learn more. Missouri is my home, and I'm honored to serve you in D.C.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Hey guys, Kevin Wheeler here. I want to tell you about 213 Complex, which is available at Supplement Superstores. It is the most effective and powerful all-natural weight loss supplement ever developed. Here's what it does for me and what it will do for you. Optimizes thyroid function, which gets your metabolism rocking and rolling, helps you with appetite and craving control. All-day focused energy comes with that, plus the reduced cortisol levels helps you get a better night's sleep. So get out to Supplement Superstores, tell them Kevin Wheeler sent you in. They'll knock 30% off the 213 Complex. Find your location at supplementsuperstores.com.
Missouri, get ready! DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your basketball picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we go live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions, safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KMOX now to gear up for launch in Missouri. Be the first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code KMOX in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Now the news at 9, The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, let's get the latest on the morning push with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we're still heavy on northbound 270 north of 55 up to Tesson Ferry. There's a crash on the shoulder there. It's backed up through Gravois to 44, and then it's slow all the way to Ladue. South 270 passing 364 is bogged down midway down to Olive, and then Olive down through Ladue after that, still on the slow side as well. Eastbound Highway 70, Lake St. Louis into Highway K and 5th Street into the Rock Road, all heavy. Southbound 61 Wentzville Parkway onto 64 through the Boulevard. It's busy both sides of Winghaven, 94 to Research Park. Boone's Crossing to about Timberlake and east of Lindbergh through the Interbelt. The Interbelt south of Page down through Ladue, I guess, then it's not as bad. Westbound 64 Science Center to Hanley, that's slow. Northbound 55, still some congestion right around the Union Road overpass up to River to Pear. And downtown westbound 5570 approaching 203, 64 at Ball Avenue, still busy and off the pace all the way across the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today will be cooler than recent days with times of sun and clouds. It'll become rather breezy and a little less humid for this afternoon. High 87, mainly clear and more comfortable tonight, though 67. Plenty of sunshine and delightful tomorrow. High 84. Friday, more sun than clouds. The high 85. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is more pleasant this morning. We've got sunny skies, 72 in Florissant, 73 in St. Peters, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. There's a big battle over legislative boundaries in this country right now. We're literally talking about lines on a map and how that impacts who represents you in Washington, D.C. For example, in Texas, Democratic lawmakers fled the state for 2 weeks to try and halt efforts to redraw those maps to favor Republicans in the midterm elections. Could that same fight take place in the state of Missouri? Let's call on Dr. Deborah Leiter, Associate Professor with the Department of Political Science at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. Dr. Leiter, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
What are we hearing now about the likelihood of congressional redistricting this year in Missouri?
You know, it's a fascinating thing. If you'd asked us 3 months ago, 4 months ago, we would have said zero, but it is increasingly a potential likelihood of occurring. We're getting a lot of mixed messages from Jeff City right now, but certainly it's a big conversation amongst both Republicans and Democrats here in the state.
What are the actual guidelines and rules for creating those congressional maps in Missouri?
Yeah, absolutely. So the hard and fast rules is that after the census, after apportionment, the state legislature has the right and does draw those lines themselves using actually a pretty standard process similar to how you would pass a law. And most of the time that's done every 10 years. This mid sort of decade redistricting is pretty rare. But there are a couple of rules that you have to have. The districts have to be contiguous. They have to touch. So we couldn't have a, say, Kansas City, St. Louis district. They're supposed to emphasize compactness. They are supposed to emphasize communities of interest. And of course, they cannot divide, according to the Voting Rights Act, major minority populations. Those are the general rules. Other than that, the state legislature has a lot of authority to draw the districts as they see fit.
So, looking at a mid-census redistricting, are there any potential legal or even constitutional hurdles for that?
You know, it's a lot of political unknowns. Certainly, the Constitution of the United States gives state legislatures quite a lot of leeway to make those decisions on their own. That's why the process is so different in different states. However, the Supreme Court has been largely unclear about partisan gerrymandering, saying it's left up to the states. One issue is, of course, that states are, and according to the Missouri Constitution, supposed to keep communities of interest together. And that's one area where we might see a legal challenge. But the bigger challenge is probably less a legal one than a political one.
Now, when we look at politics, which districts would most likely be targeted or impacted by any kind of redistricting?
So we're probably talking about districts over on this side of the state, on the Kansas City side. Certainly the targeted district here is Emanuel Cleaver's district. So right now, Missouri has what's called a 6-2 map, which means that there are 6 Republican seats and 2 Democratic seats. And all of those seats are marked as pretty partisan safe. So our competitive rating is pretty low. What's being proposed right now is called a 7-1 map, which would divide the Kansas City district up and combine it with some of the more rural and suburban districts over on this side of the state, creating 3 more competitive districts rather than 1 more safe Democrat and 2 safe Republican districts.
So when we look at the guidelines that you went over about putting groups together, would that plan, that 7-1 plan, comply with those guidelines?
So it certainly complies with the most important 2, which is the contiguity. You can't break things up geographically. And it does not violate the sort of Civil Rights Act rules. Whether it matches the spirit of the law of keeping communities together is both a legal and a political question. And it was the big debate when these districts were drawn just 2 years ago. It's hard to believe about whether the 7-1 map or the 6-2 map better fit with those guidelines. Certainly Republicans would say that it would match the incentives of the state, and Democrats would say it would not.
Let's kind of look at the political landscape in Missouri. You know, one thing I think it's interesting to note is that we do have a shrinking Freedom Caucus in Missouri, the group that you might think would be pushing this forward. Could that impact in any way GOP efforts to try to redraw these congressional boundaries?
Well, so one of the issues that sort of came up during these debates was sort of cooperation, both within the party and across parties. The Freedom Caucus had a contentious relationship with both mainstream GOP and the Democratic Party, and some of these fights came down to a question of whose preferences should win. With a more unified Republican grouping in the House and the Senate of Missouri, it might make it easier, ironically enough, to pass a 7-1 map because there's not that within party conflict over it. But it really comes down to the preferences of the state senators and the state house, whether they think that this is how they want to spend their political time and their political capital.
Now, obviously, Texas has been an interesting case to watch and probably extreme. Do you think we could or would see Democrats in the state of Missouri trying to mount that same level of opposition to something like this?
They certainly may try, but I don't know if they actually have the sort of legislative strength to be able to do so. But certainly, I think, and I think I can say this without being too controversial, that would really end much cooperation between the Republicans and the Democrats at the state legislative level if this was done, since it's such a both important decision and one that's really without too much precedent here in Missouri. Democrats will certainly use this as one of their key talking points in the upcoming 2026 election. We do know, amongst other things, gerrymandering is very unpopular with voters of all ideological stripes.
You know, and I think it's really interesting just from a perspective of this is something that a lot of people are learning about. It's people who have followed politics closely know all about redistricting and gerrymandering. But to have this really blow open for voters to really look at and understand, I think it's kind of a fascinating time. How do you feel about that?
You know, it's really fascinating. This is usually a big fight that happens every 10 years. So every 10 years, everyone sort of battens down the hatches and gets ready for this really bruising political fight that determines not just how well parties overall do, but who wins in these different districts, who gets represented, how well voters get to know their own representative. And then people sort of forget for 10 years or so because it's not the most important political issue. So reminding people in the middle of a cycle that this happens is reminding people of one of their least favorite parts of politics. And like I said, this is one of the few things Americans are actually pretty consistent about. Gerrymandering is one of the least popular things that people do, although it's worth noting it's also something that's unpopular, but that people don't tend to punish legislatures for doing.
Now, looking at this nationally, could any change in Missouri have that great of an impact on the midterms?
So, on the one hand, the answer is at a really simple level, it could be one seat. However, this is a somewhat risky strategy for Republicans, taking one safe seat away from Democrats and making three potentially competitive districts for Republicans. So it is possible that Missouri switches from a 6-2 to a 5-3 or 5-4 map. But when you have such close and small majorities in the in Congress, I should say, it is possible that we could come down to a single seat being the thing that determines whether the Republicans or the Democrats have a majority in 2026, really changing political authority in the United States. I also think it's probably worth noting that this could start a cascade. Texas and California are having a big fight, but they're the two big states that get a lot of attention. If the smaller states start doing this, we may see reciprocal actions in, say, Illinois, and see a pretty widespread redrawing of maps in a number of states. So it is potential that this could be the tipping point to a lot of map redrawing and a really pretty nasty and bruising competition for 2026.
Dr. Leiter, thank you so much for your perspective. Appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
That is UMKC political science professor Deborah Leiter joining us this morning here on KMOX. Let's get another check of the roads right now with Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, we still have a backup. It looks like another crash on northbound 270. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. You're slowed down at Tesson Ferry, but it jams just before you get to 44. The jam begins at Gravois up to just before 44. So that's where the incident is on North 270. Once you get past that point, it's still slow. Big Bend all the way to Ladue. South 270 Page to Ladue. That's busy. Eastbound 64 coming off 61, still a little slow at the Prospect area through Wing Haven, 94 to Research Park. It's bogged down from Boone's Crossing almost to Timberlake. Then we have a backup from about Maryville Center, and that runs through Mason. There's a crash eastbound 64 just before 270 blocking a lane. It's still heavy Lindbergh into Big Bend. Westbound 64 Hampton to Big Bend slow. South 170 Delmar down through Ladue, and then it starts picking up the pace. Not as bad after that. Northbound 55 still kind of heavy north of Union up to River to Pear. Westbound 5570 still a jam approaching 203. Slow west of there, headed across the Poplar. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It's never too early to start thinking about your retirement journey, and it's never too late either. You just need to know that the steps may look a little different. Listen to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg, Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
We're going to have a mix of sun and clouds today, breezy with a lot lower humidity this afternoon, a high of 87 degrees. Clear skies tonight with a low of 67, and then sunny and pleasant tomorrow, a high of 84. Sunshine 72 now downtown at the Arch.
It's Tom Ackerman, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. One of my favorite companies. Been working with them for about a decade now. And they taught me, and you should know, my dad actually taught me a long time ago that your garage door is the largest piece of moving equipment in your home, and you need to take care of it. So when it needs help, call the experts at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, 314-781-5200. 314-781-5200. Their certified technicians repair all brands of doors and openers, not just the ones that they will bring to your home. They will repair all of them. And you can even schedule evening and weekend service with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. And by the way, the name Overhead Door gets copied a lot. Always look for the red ribbon. That is your assurance that you have the genuine, the original Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the most trusted garage door company in St. Louis since 1926. Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
This Labor Day weekend, we're celebrating Bob's Discount Furniture's 200th store milestone with the entire Bob's family across the country. For more than 30 years, we've believed everyone deserves the home they love. That's why we brought our everyday low prices on furniture, mattresses, and more to over 200 locations from coast to coast and counting. Not to mention free treats for the whole family in our cafes. Celebrate Bob's Discount Furniture's 200 store milestone this Labor Day weekend. Oh, my Bob!
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
If you want thick, healthy, gorgeous hair, then you need Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy, Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and NewNordicUSA.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're back with Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. After losing the Riverfront Times, St. Louis is now bracing for another potential blow to local journalism. A mega merger could put a local TV newsroom at risk, troubling for a region whose political indictments and population decline demand more scrutiny, not less. KMOX's Michael Calhoun has the story.
Once upon a time, there were 5 distinct choices on what kind of St. Louis news stories you wanted to see and in what style.
You're watching ABC 30 News at 10.
Good evening and welcome to the St. Louis 11 News Update.
We'll return to Blues hockey in just a moment.
Fox 2 News. Here's to St. Louis. KMOV TV for St. Louis. Thanks for choosing News for St. Louis at noon.
You're watching News Channel 5, where the news comes first.
Several years ago, the owners of Channel 2 and 11 merged. Because Channel 11 wasn't one of the top 4 stations in the market, the company could legally own both, and the 2 stations' newsrooms became one. Now their owner, Nexstar, is buying Tegna, which owns Channel 5. Previously, they would have to divest of either 2 or 5 because they're both top-tier stations. But Nexstar CEO Perry Sook explains on CNBC that rule is now gone.
The 8th Circuit Court basically vacated in July the 2-station rule, or the 2 top big 4 station rule that prohibited an operator from owning 2 of the top 4 rated stations in a marketplace. So we feel as we move through this regulatory process that we're meeting deregulation kind of where it is at this point. We think it's evolving, and we think our case is compelling, not only for removal of the national ownership cap, which keeps broadcasting to 39% of the U.S. population. when we compete with big tech that is pervasive and able to reach every screen in every backpack, living room, and office in America. And so we just want to level the playing field.
Sook outlines what we can expect once stations like Channel 5 are acquired.
Well, there are 35 markets in this transaction where both Tegna and Nexstar operate television stations. So there will be a combination of those into one facility. Think of it, if you will, as operating two newspapers off of a single printing press.
And he references what they've already done in places like St. Louis.
Nexstar has a track record of doing this. About half of the markets that we operate in today, Nexstar derives an economic benefit from more than one television station.
St. Louis isn't the only place. In Denver, anchor Kyle Clark on their Tegna station, 9 News, said
that in the cities where Nexstar will end up with multiple stations, like in Denver, that those stations will be, quote unquote, combined. You may remember that Channel 2, Colorado's first TV station, used to have its own newsroom and staff before Channel 2 was rolled into Fox 31's operation in 2008. Nexstar told shareholders today that it expects most of the operating expense reductions to be completed within 12 months of the deal closing.
KSDK Channel 5 has been planning new studios overlooking Forest Park to move in next year. It's only a block away from where Channel 2 used to be.
This is News Channel 5 at 10 with Karen Foss, Dan Gray, Sidney Presley, and Mike Bush. And on the night beat, Deanne Lane and Steve Jankowski.
Even if station ownership limits don't apply, the Trump administration could still require a sell-off of a station like this if, for instance, it decides that Nexstar could control too much of the advertising market in a given area. By the way, there was another bidder for Tegna. It was Sinclair, the owner of Channel 30. For Total Information AM, Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Coming up, Target is losing a beauty partner. KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz will tell us who. It's now 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You hear that? That's the sound of your business losing money. Legacy phone systems weren't built for today's teams. OpenPhone gives your business a smarter way to stay connected. OpenPhone lets you manage calls, texts, voicemail, and contacts all in one place so that you and your team can deliver a seamless customer experience from ring to... Need to take calls on the go? OpenPhone automatically transcribes, summarizes, and highlights next steps from every call, so you never miss a detail. Need insight into what closes a sale? With OpenPhone's AI call tags, you can instantly spot key topics like objections or pricing questions, and use those insights to coach your team and level up every customer interaction. And yes, you can bring your existing number with you for free. Keep your team in sync and your customers happy with OpenPhone. OpenPhone. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try OpenPhone for free at openphone.com/try and get 20% off your first 6 months. That's openphone.com/try. openphone.com/TRY.
8:30. Let's see what's slowing you down on your way to work with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the good news on 270 is they cleared that crash we had, Megan, so that's helping things. This traffic reports the service of Metro Transit. North 270, though, it was at 44. North 270 still backed up from Tesson Ferry through Gravois bumper to bumper, but then it opens up north of there. It's still slow, though, north of Big Bend up to Ladue. South 270, Page to Ladue, that's still busy. Eastbound 64, a little slow at Lake St. Louis Boulevard, 94 to Research Park. Boone's Crossing, it's sort of heavy pockets all the way into that crash we had east of Mason. They cleared that to the shoulder, so it's opening up as you come through Mason. But again, just a lot of slow going. It's still busy from McKnight through Hanley. Westbound 64, Science Center to Hanley, still slow. Eastbound Highway 70, still busy. Lake St. Louis into K and 5th Street into the Rock Road. Northbound 55, a solid jam. I can't see the crash. It's blocking a traffic lane, though, just north of River de Pere between there and Loughborough. So it's a solid jam back at Bayless on northbound 55. And downtown, westbound 5570 still slow, approaching 203 to 64. And then west of 3rd Street to the Poplar still heavy. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Metro Transit.
Get a Metro Transit $5 day pass from Metro St. Louis and go anywhere Metro goes, no matter how far or how long, all day long. Super chill, clean, safe, and reliable, not to mention AC and free Wi-Fi. Go to metrostl.org to get your pass today.
A mix of sun and clouds today, breezy with lower humidity, a high of 87. We have sunny skies, 72 degrees downtown at the Arch. A retailer and beauty supplier are breaking up, and that means consumers may have to make an extra stop to get their favorite mascara or face cream. Let's find out more from KMOX business analyst Jerome Katz, professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at St. Louis University. So, Jerry, why are Target and Ulta Beauty parting ways right now?
Well, it was a match made in heaven back in 2020 because Ulta was trying to figure out how to expand, and their deal with Target gave them what ended up being almost 600 stores, mini stores inside of Target. So the beauty of that was it cost them a whole lot less. They didn't have to spend money on buying or renting space, building stuff out, or anything like that. So it gave them a great quick boost to what was going on. For Target's advantage, they wanted to differentiate themselves from Walmart. And one of the ways they do that is saying we're more stylish, and having a popular brand name cosmetic like Ulta in store reinforced that image. The thing is that Ulta has been growing like hotcakes, and Target is in a much tougher competitive position and isn't doing nearly as well as Ulta is. So Ulta was looking at what is the best way for them to expand. Now, they're up to almost 1,500 stores. Target is just under 2,000. And so they've made a lot of the difference up. And right now, there are Ultas close to where Targets are. So they're looking and saying we can probably close down a lot of those locations in Target and pick up the business from our own stores. Target's having a tough time, and this is just, I wouldn't call it a nail in the coffin, but another knock to what they're trying to get done.
Now, I noted, Jerry, that this model has been successful in other stores. For example, the partnership between Kohl's and Sephora. I mean, that's been a big hit and a big revenue draw.
Yeah. Well, actually, if this is a test of your memory, Sephora originally started the store-in-store, not with Kohl's, but with JCPenney.
I do remember that. You're right.
That was 2006, and they were in JCPenney until 2020. So, it worked really well for them, and they learned a lot how to do that, and they moved when they saw that Kohl's was a better fit to their brand image. So you've got things like that. Let's see, Target also had deals with Disney, Apple, Levi's. Lowe's has Petco. Macy's has Toys R Us. Remember Claire's? They've gone out, been bankrupt a couple times, but they actually had stores, mini stores in Walmart, Kohl's, and Macy's. So you're right. This is a really popular thing. We're going to keep seeing more of it. Walmart is just laying out the Walmart Beauty Bar to compete with the Ulta mini stores. They've got it in 40 stores planned. Those first 10 will be in Florida and Texas. Nothing around the St. Louis area for the foreseeable future, but it's coming.
Anything else that we need to know about this trend right now, Jerry?
Well, Target's not out of the shop within a shop business. Their next one is going to be Warby Parker. So you'll be able to buy and get fitted fancy glasses at your Target. So they're still in there swinging.
That is KMOX business analyst, professor in the Chaffetz School of Business at St. Louis University, Jerome Katz. Thank you so much.
Have a great week.
Calling all future sportscasters. Sharpen your skills and learn from the best of the Missouri Broadcasters Association Sportscasters Forum, Tuesday, September 16th in St. Louis. Join Cardinals beat reporters, broadcasters, and the legendary John Rooney, the voice of the Cardinals, for insider sessions on play-by-play, interviewing, reporting, and more. Then cap the day with a Cards-Reds game at Busch Stadium. Open to college students and broadcasting pros. Just $10 for students, lunch, and a game ticket. Space is limited. Register by September 2nd at Missouri Broadcasters sportscasters.org.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-969-0686 and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-969-0686. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-969-0686 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-969-0686.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gantner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Kimberly Adams.
Good morning. The summer calm on Wall Street was rattled yesterday. NVIDIA led a big tech meltdown. Its shares fell 3.5%. The Nasdaq fell 1.5%. It was the second worst drop since April. The S&P 500 closed 0.6% lower, and the Dow managed a tiny gain, less than 0.1%. The Food and Drug Administration is warning the public not to eat Great Value brand frozen raw shrimp sold at Walmart. The item was sold at stores in 13 states. The warning is a precaution, the FDA says, as a radioactive substance was detected in a shipment of shrimp from Indonesia. That shipment did not enter the U.S., but the FDA is concerned about the possibility of radiation. Home Depot shares rose 3% in yesterday's trading. Its quarterly results lifted big box retailers. Intel shares jumped 7% on word the federal government is working out details of a deal to take a stake in the chip maker. And we'll see how Lowe's and Target are doing. Earnings reports from the retailers are on the way this morning. With your Bloomberg Money Report, I'm Kimberly Adams on the Voice of St. Louis, 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, it's Tom Ackerman here. I have a question for you. Are you in the market for a new car? Let Genesis of St. Charles bring that test drive right to you. They are closer than you think, or you can stop by for exclusive in-store offers. Genesis of St. Charles has the largest selection of new Genesis models in stock, ready for you to drive home. They are the #1 Genesis dealer in Missouri for 2025, based on GMA sales records for 2024. Genesis of St. Charles. You can buy online and let them deliver to you, or you can go into 5601 Veterans Memorial Parkway in St. Peters off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive and see for yourself. Luxury selection, luxury service. They are Genesis of St. Charles. They're Missouri's first and only standalone Genesis dealership. Genesis of St. Charles, genesisofstcharles.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Paul's new drone startup just lost its most genius computer scientist.
We just lost our best genius to some new genius who's got a genius new idea. I'm going to have to find a new genius, or two have geniuses, and fast.
He needs a computer scientist that can keep his startup from falling down.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Let's head back to the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center. Roger Brand, how do things look out there on the roads?
Well, it's still got some trouble spots, Megan, unfortunately. This traffic report's a service of FanDuel Sports Network. If you are on eastbound Highway 70, they're sending EMS for a crash. It's just east of the Blanchette Bridge. Traffic right now is just slow at 5th Street. Still a little backup past 270. After that, South 270, Page down to Ladue, still busy. If you're on eastbound 64, there's still slow traffic from about Annie Guns all the way through Mason. That crash is still in the right lanes before 270 on eastbound 64, but it's not a solid jam through there, just heavy. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, that's still slow. Northbound 270, still a little backup at Tesson Ferry, and then north of 44 all the way to Ladue, still busy. South 270, Page to Ladue, still slow. 55, a solid jam from almost Rivas Barracks now. That crash at River to Pears blocking the left lane, and on the Illinois side, westbound 64, west of 111, we have a crash. Delays at 111. Eastbound 5570 repair work at Exchange has a jam back through 64. I'm Roger Brand at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We'll see a mix of sun and clouds today. It'll be breezy with lower humidity, a high 87. We have sunny skies now, 74 degrees in downtown St. Louis. Thanks for joining me this morning for Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. The U.S. Supreme Court waits to weigh in on requiring age checks for kids on social media. Plus, Illinois has some new laws to oversee the crypto industry. Let's talk about all of that with KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris Dow Fisher & Young. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Megan.
We've talked a lot about social media and big tech companies, and Mississippi had passed a law that would require parental consent for kids to open a social media account. But this has been taken to the Supreme Court. Who took this to the Supreme Court? And give us a few more details of this.
Well, this was taken by a company called NetChoice, which is an internet company. And they took this directly to the Supreme Court to say, we want you to put a hold or a stay on this new law in Mississippi until we can actually work its way through the courts. And the Supreme Court declined. And even though ultimately I believe the Supreme Court will probably hold that this law in Mississippi is unconstitutional because of restraints on the free speech rights of minors, but because of that, the courts generally, particularly the Supreme Court, always wants cases to go through the normal process of going through the trial court and the appellate courts before it gets to the Supreme Court. And so that's what the Supreme Court has decided here. But the bottom line is we have this robust argument in this country and discussion really about how far and how much free speech rights do minors have, and does that then allow them to access material that many folks think that minors should not have access to.
And this could really be a groundbreaking case as it moves through, because there's been so many questions about how do you verify how old a kid is to be on social media.
That's right. And then by requiring parental approval, then it gets into a lot of other issues about who's a parent. Does this apply to guardians? How do you handle kids who are not living with their parents or have a divided custody situations? I mean, it's a very messy when you get into the weeds on this, Megan. But the bottom line is we haven't figured out how to handle social media from a First Amendment perspective. And this is one case that I think will move the needle when it comes to how do we address First Amendment rights for minors.
Let's look at cryptocurrency. Illinois has had a lot of problems with cryptocurrency scams because of the way some of the vending machines are set up at gas stations and other places. And so the governor has signed some laws that basically would treat cryptocurrency like regular currency when it comes to consumer protections. Talk about the ins and outs of these laws.
Well, there's a lot of scamming problems with cryptocurrency, Megan, and particularly in Illinois, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence that people are being swindled out of their life savings through fake romantic relationships or fake situations where someone calls and says your grandson is in trouble, he needs some money, those types of scams. And cryptocurrency makes it very easy for the scammers because it's not traceable. So Illinois has put some curbs on how much individuals can withdraw for cryptocurrency at any given time. And that's a very low limit, $2,500 a day. And it's also, as you said, makes cryptocurrency come under consumer protection laws, which would, at least in theory, allow the state of Illinois to go after some of these scammers when they commit fraud. And this is the first attempt at these kinds of controls on cryptocurrency. So we'll have to see how effective these controls are.
One last headline that we do need to touch on. The Attorney General of Illinois has joined a federal lawsuit over the Trump administration's plans to cut crime victim grants to states that don't help immigration authorities. What are the state's legal arguments against this move?
Well, the state's main legal argument is under what's called the Administrative Procedures Act. And the Administrative Procedures Act is a law that goes back to the 70s. But essentially what it says is this: if the executive branch is going to cut funding in any way, in terms of funding that has been ongoing, there are procedures that have to be followed. They have to put out a notice and comment on rulemaking. It allows for judicial review, and also the executive branch, with very limited exceptions, cannot just cut money that's been allocated by Congress. So that's the main argument I think that Illinois has here.
Do they have a leg to stand on?
Well, they do in terms of the violation of the APA, but the ultimate question is that even if the notice and rulemaking, if the executive branch goes through it, will they eventually succeed? And the answer to that's generally yes, as long as they follow the procedure. So the bottom line is this is going to be a long litigation, but Illinois right now has filed more than 35 lawsuits against the Trump administration. So we'll have to see how these cases get resolved.
That is KMOX legal analyst Brad Young with Harris, Dow, Fisher & Young. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Coming up next on Total Information AM, travel writer Bill Cleveland back from his latest road trip. He will join me next.
I'm Rachel Zimmerman. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Have you ever had the experience of paying good money for something only for it not to last or to have shoddy construction or workmanship? It's really frustrating. That's why it's important who you choose for your next outdoor project. And I will recommend Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. No, they're not going to be your cheapest bid. What they are going to be is a great value, because when they build something for you, whether it's a fence, a deck, a patio, a pergola, a screen room, a sunroom, whatever it is in your outdoor space that they build, it is going to be quality work that lasts for years to come, not something that starts splintering and warping after one season and needs replacing. Chesterfield Fence and Deck has been around for 57 years. They have thousands of happy, satisfied customers like me. They built my fence. It's over a dozen years ago, and it still looks brand new. While I've seen many of my neighbors replacing theirs, sometimes more than once over that same time span. If you mention me, Debbie Monterrey, they'll take 20% off your next outdoor project. It's Chesterfield Fence and Deck, chesterfieldfence.com.
Energy security isn't a slogan, it's a necessity. American-made energy means we call the shots instead of depending on foreign sources to fill our tanks. Made here in America, ethanol keeps gas prices lower at the pump. It's reliable, creates jobs, and strengthens farming communities. Tell Congress to support nationwide year-round access to E15, a lower-cost fuel made with 15% ethanol, because American-made energy should come first. Paid for by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Hi, I'm Andrew Suntrup. For over 30 years, St. Louis families have trusted Suntrup Ford Westport and Suntrup Ford Kirkwood as a proud, family-owned and operated dealership. We offer more than just great deals. We offer peace of mind. At Suntrup Ford, you'll find a huge selection of inventory to choose from, unmatched customer service, and our exclusive lifetime powertrain protection program. Visit in store or online at suntrupford.com. Save more at Suntrup Ford. Visit suntrupford.com.
It doesn't take a lot to make a big difference.
That's why we've teamed up with Jerry Kelly Heating and Cooling to bring you 100 acts of kindness.
For the next 6 months, the Chris and Amy Show is challenging you to spread kindness in simple, meaningful ways. No big budget needed.
Write a thank you note, help a neighbor, surprise someone with a smile. It all counts.
Let's prove that kindness is contagious. Share your acts with us by using hashtag 100KindActs.
Because a little kindness goes a long way.
This is Total Information AM on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. Some of our favorite family memories are of traveling to Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, home of Sprecher root beer. Travel writer Bill Cleveland just spent nearly a month traveling across much of the state of Wisconsin. He joins us now to share some of his favorite experiences so you can plan your next road trip. Good morning, Bill.
Hello, good morning. How's it going?
It's going well. Did you have any of their maple root beer at Sprecker's?
It's funny. That's the one thing I didn't do when I was
Doggone it.
in the.
You'll have to go back.
I missed out on that one. You mentioned Lake Geneva. I guess I'll mention that my favorite experience of my entire Wisconsin trip was in Lake Geneva, and it was the Lake Geneva Mailboat Tour. Have you done that?
I have not done that. I didn't even know about it.
Oh my goodness. So just, and there's a video at BillOnTheRoad.com people can watch, but essentially it is a tradition that's been going for over 100 years. These rich folks from Chicago came in, populated Lake Geneva, and back in the day there was no road to get their mail to the home, so it had to be delivered by boat. And so they still deliver the mail by boat, and what happens is they have these young college kids who are they call them the mailboat runners or jumpers, excuse me. And so they jump from a moving boat and deliver their mail and then run back and jump back on the boat while it's still moving. And they do this all around the lake. And it's absolutely fascinating to watch and a lot of fun. And you get to see the cool homes on Lake Geneva. So,
Well, I think a lot of people, when they think about Michigan and Wisconsin and Lake Michigan, they think about lighthouses and beaches. Talk about some of those other water experiences there in Wisconsin.
yeah, I had a lot of great time on the water. Sheboygan, folks, I'm sure have heard the town of Sheboygan. I went there and I learned how to sail, or at least took a sailing lesson. And everybody can do this. It's called SEAS, SEAS. And for just $25, you can get out on the water with an instructor for a couple of hours, and you're in one of these sailboats that won't flip over, which was great news to hear from me. And you're out there, and they teach you. It's hands-on. You get to learn how to do all the stuff. You learn all the sailing jargon, and that was really a lot of fun. Kewanee is another little small town. You might have passed it if you traveled up to Door County. They have a historic lighthouse, like you mentioned, and a really cool World War II tugboat that's right there in the marina. You can go and you can tour, along with the world's largest grandfather clock and some cool dairy farms you can tour and see what that's all about. That was fun. And then in the town of Racine, this was really, really neat. I had the chance to tour the headquarters of SC Johnson, which anybody can do. It's a free tour, and you get to walk through this Frank Lloyd Wright designed campus and this research tower that he designed, where some of the company's biggest products were first invented. It's like a time capsule, Megan, and you're walking through and you're seeing where these scientists put together all these, products that many folks probably have in their home today.
One thing I did not realize is that the Great River Road that we know here in St. Louis actually extends all the way up to the western side of Wisconsin.
Yeah, all the way up the Mississippi River. Stockholm is one of the little tiny towns that are up there along the Great River Road. Tiny, tiny town. I don't even think they have I know they don't have a stoplight. They may not even have a stop sign. It's so small. But they are home to America's #1 pie shop, voted best pie shop in the country 2 years in a row. It's called Stockholm Pie. Tiny, tiny town. The pie was really out of this world. Tons of different, like, really interesting flavors. And a handful of other tiny little towns along what they call the west coast of Wisconsin. Lots of outdoor recreation. Lake Pepin, folks may have heard of that. Tons of hiking trails. There were some, lavender farms, fishing. If you kind of want to get away from it all, don't sleep on the west coast of Wisconsin. And then La Crosse is a town some folks may have heard of. Very, very welcoming, really nice people. Lots of great outdoor hiking. I took one of the old school paddle wheeler boats down the Mississippi River. Enjoyed some, fun live music downtown. Real walkable downtown. And I found the world's largest 6-pack of beer outside of a local brewery there in La Crosse. So really fun. And Megan, I've done a whole list of kind of quirky and amusing attractions and things to do, like the mailboat tour on my website, BillOnTheRoad.com. I think there's like 30 of them, and so you can kind of pick and choose the things that you might like to do on your next trip to Wisconsin.
Wonderful. Well, Bill, thanks for sharing all that with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Have a good day.
You too. That, again, travel journalist Bill Cleveland with BillOnTheRoad.com.
It's National Radio Day, and what better way to celebrate than to spend it with us? That's what the new president of St. Louis University will be doing. Plus, Stephen Richer, former recorder of Maricopa County, on mail-in voting. It all starts at 9 a.m. on the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
How many of you think taxes are going to go up in the future? And if they do, who will be hit the hardest? Maybe it's you, headed for retirement. You've been saving in that 401k or IRA, and that money has never been taxed. And Uncle Sam is looking at that account like it's a big, juicy steak. What can you do about it? Join the All Financial Group for their Taxes in Retirement Seminar, Tuesday, August 26th or Thursday, August 28th at Fleming's. They believe a financial plan is not a retirement plan without a tax plan. Fund your retirement, not Uncle Sam's. Reserve your spot today by calling 636-230-8824. That's 636-230-8824.